Lu Qing, who was comprehending the Taoist chapter, was awakened by a slight change in the qi of heaven and earth. Although this change in the qi of heaven and earth was not intense, it was very clear. Even the arrays of the Golden Core level cave mansion in this couldn't completely shield it. Moreover, over the past year, as Lu Qing traveled the world with little Li, observing the wonders of heaven and earth, he had become particularly sensitive to changes in worldly phenomena. So he quickly awakened from his cultivation state. This qi, it's a fluctuation in space. Is the Ice Soul Valley about to emerge? Lu Qing reacted immediately. Ah Qing! Little Li, who possessed a space divine ability, was even more sensitive to such spatial fluctuations and immediately jumped onto Lu Qing's shoulder. Yes, let's go out and take a look. Lu Qing took little Li and left the cave mansion. Then he found that there was no one inside the inn, and the people in Earthfire City were all rushing outside the city. Customer, you've come out of seclusion. The Ice Soul Valley is about to emerge. All the immortals in the city are heading there now. At this time, a waiter came out from the back hall, saw Lu Qing, and explained to him. Little brother, aren't you going? Lu Qing asked. I don't have that capability. The waiter laughed. When the Ice Soul Valley appears, the celestial gale extends for hundreds of miles. Even the outermost snow fiend is hard to resist for Foundation Establishment cultivators. I'm just a small qi refining realm cultivator. Before even getting close, I'd probably be frozen to pieces. Going there would be surrendering my life in vain. I see. So you, little brother, are quite knowledgeable about the Ice Soul Valley? Lu Qing became interested and didn't rush to leave, asking questions instead. I wouldn't say knowledgeable, it's just that I heard about it from the elders in the city when I was young, knowing just a bit. The waiter showed an honest smile. Obviously, this waiter had grown up in Earthfire City. So, little brother, what are the more precious treasures produced in the Ice Soul Valley? The more precious ones? The waiter thought for a moment. I do know something about this. From what the elders in the city said, there are 6 treasures in the Ice Soul Valley that are the most precious, which are 1 fire, 2 jades, and 3 spiritual medicines. The 1 fire refers to the mystic cold flame, said to be an extremely mystical exotic flame. Although it is a flame, it is not hot. On the contrary, it is extremely cold, capable of freezing all things, very terrifying. However, if a cultivator whose main focus is on cold ice attribute or water element can refine it into a life-bound spiritual fire, they will gain great benefits. Not only can it cleanse the bone marrow, improve root bone talent, but it also makes cultivation more efficient, progressing by leaps and bounds. Even when used against enemies, it is an extremely powerful Taoist magic. But the mystic cold flame rarely appears. The Ice Soul Valley appears once every 50 years, and it's said to have only appeared 3 times in this 10,000 years, with the most recent being 3,000 years ago, making it the rarest and most precious treasure of the Ice Soul Valley. The 2 jades refer to 2 types of treasure jade, Cold Marrow Jade and Ice Soul Jade. These treasure jades contain the laws of ice. Not only are they filled with spiritual charm, but they also have the effects of clearing the mind and suppressing heart demons, truly exotic treasures. Lastly, the 3 spiritual medicines refer to Snow Soul Ginseng, Glacier Blossom, and 9-leaf Ice Lotus. These 3 spiritual medicines are top grade and extremely precious. These 6 treasures, over the years since the Ice Soul Valley emerged, have been summarized by numerous cultivators as the 6 most precious treasures. Once they appear, even primordial spirit great powers would be tempted. However, these 6 treasures do not necessarily appear every time the Ice Soul Valley emerges. It depends on opportunity. So these are the 6 treasures. Accompanied by the waiter's fluent recount, Lu Qing understood what the precious treasures in the Ice Soul Valley were. Thank you, little brother. Take these spirit stones as a reward. Lu Qing casually tossed out a few pieces of low-grade spirit stone. The waiter was initially stunned but then quickly caught them. When he saw the look of the spirit stones, he broke into a wide smile. Thank you, customer. He did not see it wrong. This customer was indeed generous. A few spirit stones were almost worth a month's salary for him. After leaving the inn, Lu Qing took little Li and headed outside the city. There was no need to ask anyone else, as the fluctuation in the qi of heaven and earth was growing stronger. Just follow the direction it was coming from. As he left Earth Fire City, Lu Qing transformed into a stream of light and flew towards the east. During this journey, the aura he displayed had changed again, probably reaching the middle stage of the Golden Core level. With this level of strength, although the celestial gale in the heavenly cold continent was formidable, flying was still an easy task. Soon, Lu Qing arrived 100 miles east of Earth Fire City, and then he felt the snow fiend gale ahead suddenly intensify. Even a Foundation Establishment realm cultivator caught in it would find themselves completely chilled, their primordial qi greatly diminished. No wonder that waiter knew there was a big opportunity but wasn't moved at all. The intensity of this snow fiend gale indeed couldn't be resisted by a small qi-refining great success cultivator like him. Even a trace of it could turn one into an ice sculpture, reduced to fragments. Of course, this snow fiend gale was of no consequence to Lu Qing. With a slight movement of his heart and spirit, a sword intent emanated from within him, shielding all the snow fiend gale outside his body. Then he accelerated and plunged into the wind and snow ahead. After a while, he suddenly felt a bright light ahead, and the wind and snow dispersed. But that's not the main point. Lu Qing was immediately captivated by the scenery ahead. In the high sky ahead, a gigantic virtual manifestation of an ice-snow valley was floating in the void, about to appear fully. And several dozen miles in front of the ice-snow valley's virtual manifestation, numerous powerful figures were suspended in the air, waiting for the moment it fully materializes. Is this Ice Soul Valley truly manifesting from the void rather than existing in any valley on the ground? Seeing this scene, Lu Qing was genuinely surprised. At this moment, he finally understood why Ice Soul Valley appears once every 50 years, yet no powerful faction occupies it. It turns out this divine, mysterious snow valley doesn't exist in the reality. It's hidden in the void of the sky. Moreover, judging by the current intensity of spatial fluctuations, such formidable power from heaven and earth likely cannot be sealed by any force. Gradually slowing down, Lu Qing also found a spot on the periphery several dozen miles in front of the valley's virtual manifestation and stopped. Of course, his arrival didn't go unnoticed by the powerful figures nearby waiting. Those strong figures sensed the fierce sword intent emanating from Lu Qing, causing them to pay silent attention to him. Sword cultivators are renowned for their formidable combat power. With such pure sword intent achieved in the Golden Core initial realm, he has the strength to battle even against late Golden Core realm experts. Here, except for a few primordial spirit great powers, the other Golden Core realm cultivators have all become wary of Lu Qing. Clearly, this newly arrived young man is a formidable contender in their quest for opportunities. Lu Qing didn't care much about others' vigilance. He slightly sensed and basically assessed the strength of the folks nearby. Besides those few primordial spirit realm cultivators at the forefront, the others were all Golden Core realm experts. This surprised him a bit. According to that shopkeeper's words, with the treasures produced by Ice Soul Valley being so marvelous, surely many primordial spirit realm cultivators would come to contend for them. Why are there only 3 primordial spirit realm cultivators here now? Lu Qing naturally didn't know that although Ice Soul Valley is said to manifest every 50 years, spraying forth numerous treasures each time. But in reality, like the 6 types of treasures described by the shopkeeper, they often appear only once every several dozen manifestations. With the probability being so low, naturally, the allure for primordial spirit great powers is greatly reduced. This time having 3 primordial spirit great powers is already considered many. In the past, there were even instances where only Golden Core realm experts came to vie for treasures. But despite the inner surprise, Lu Qing simply took a few more glances and didn't mind much. Given his current strength, primordial spirit initial realm powers, and Golden Core realm experts essentially posed no threat to him anymore. Lu Qing focused his attention on the Ice Snow Valley virtual manifestation still floating in the void ahead. This past year, he traveled the world with little Li, witnessed breathtaking sights, and grasped insights from heaven and earth, gaining substantial benefits. However, the drastic changes in heaven and earth's energy like this were encountered for the first time, causing his divine soul to feel tremors. He felt that if he could comprehend this transformative energy change thoroughly, it would bring considerable benefits. Immediately, Lu Qing casually condensed a cloud under him, suspended in the air, and sat cross-legged, preparing to comprehend it well. His actions naturally drew glances from other powerful individuals once more. However, seeing that he was just sitting down to comprehend the spatial fluctuations ahead, everyone paid no further attention. Some even inwardly scoffed. Each time Ice Soul Valley manifests, there are always newcomers attempting to comprehend something from the vast spatial fluctuations. Yet, how is heaven and earth's energy and the void changes easy to comprehend? Even for primordial spirit great powers, it may not be achievable. This fellow is merely in the golden core initial realm, yet dreams of comprehending the void. It's simply beyond his capabilities. However, none of those present knew that Lu Qing was filled with joy at this moment. It turns out that energy changes from virtual manifestation to reality are indeed like this. Lu Qing deeply comprehended the transformations in the surrounding heaven and earth's energies, with enlightenment surging through his mind. Meanwhile, within the forehead acupoint, the divine soul talisman hidden inside the earth spirit pearl trembled slightly, seemingly ready to undergo a metamorphosis following Lu Qing's insights. Lu Qing's divine soul talisman was cultivated from the ancient mystical sect, the Divine Talisman Sect, from his home world. The rune path of the Divine Talisman Sect's legacy is exceptionally mysterious, especially its cultivation philosophy to learn from all the creations under heaven, exceedingly advanced. Even at Lu Qing's current realm, he still feels it's a path to ascend to the heavens. Hence, over the years, he has not neglected his cultivation in the rune path. Especially this past year, as he traveled the world with little Li, witnessing wondrous scenes and grasping heaven and earth's energy was essentially cultivating the rune path. The heavenly origin great world is vast beyond measure. The transformations of energy within it, the changes in its landscape, are more complex and mysterious than imaginable. Lu Qing utilized the Divine Talisman Sect's cultivation method, observing along the way, his understanding in the rune path advancing rapidly. The Divine Soul Talisman, which had long reached the Yang Talisman realm, gradually neared perfection, with its divine soul power significantly increasing. Now, in the process of comprehending the Ice Snow Valley virtual manifestation gradually emerging, the transformative energy changes from virtual to reality continuously touched his heart, indicating that his divine soul talisman might truly reach Yang Talisman perfection. According to the Divine Talisman Sect's rune path legacy, the Yang Talisman realm of the Divine Soul Talisman corresponds to the Golden Core realm. Cultivators practicing the rune path, upon reaching Yang Talisman perfection, possess strength not inferior to the pinnacle of Golden Core realm spinning into perfection. If Lu Qing can smoothly comprehend thoroughly this time and let the Divine Soul Talisman break through to Yang Talisman perfection, his strength will enhance further. This legacy from the Divine Talisman Sect, though originating from my home world, possesses a foresightness in its cultivation philosophy. Its cultivation limits are equally high. If this path can truly be completed, it might not be inferior to the Golden Core path of the Immortal Tao or the physical body path of the Witch Clan. Just wondering who exactly was the venerable expert who created this cultivation method. If he were born in this heavenly origin great world, where immortal ways flourish, he would certainly be a top figure of unparalleled splendor and unmatched throughout history. The more Lu Qing cultivated the legacy of the Divine Talisman Sect, the more he admired the supreme wisdom of the venerable expert who created it. Though it originated from the remote land of his home world, the cultivation philosophy within it is not inferior to the profound legacies he acquired. After reflecting for a while, Lu Qing calmed his emotions and continued to comprehend the transformations of heaven and earth's energies ahead. While Lu Qing was silently comprehending, more than 10 Golden Core realm experts, enduring the Snow Gale's invasion, arrived here. These Golden Core realm experts, upon seeing the 3 primordial spirit great powers suspended at the forefront, trembled together and, not daring to make any rash moves, found a spot quietly to wait for Ice Soul Valley to fully manifest. Boom! After approximately another half a quarter of an hour, suddenly, a mighty sound echoed from ahead. Heaven and Earth's energy became exceptionally intense. The virtual manifestation of the Ice Snow Valley that had been floating in the void seemed to have finally broken free of heavy restraints, slowly emerging from the endless void. Sitting cross-legged on the cloud, Lu Qing, comprehending this unprecedented transformation in heaven and Earth's energy, watching the massive valley change from virtual to real, lightened his eyes. In the depths of his mind, he finally grasped that strand of trembling. Enlightenment surged from his heart. And with the rise of this strand of comprehension, the divine soul talisman, always hidden within the earth spirit pearl in his forehead acupoint, suddenly sprang forth, pushing aside the 5 spiritual pearls, and occupied the central position of the acupoint space alone. The divine soul talisman, previously as warm as sunlight, instantly radiated with brilliant light. At this moment, the divine soul talisman formally entered the Yang Talisman Perfection realm. Lu Qing watched as Ice Soul Valley materialized from illusion to reality, and under the unprecedented changes in the heaven and earth energy, he finally reached the perfect realm of the Yang Talisman. Of course, this is also because, over the past year, he traveled the world, viewed the wonders of the world, observed mountains and rivers, and gained insights under the heaven and earth energy. His own accumulation was already very substantial, and he was just a step away from the perfect realm. Now breaking through, it can be considered a natural progression after accumulation. I finally reached the perfect realm of the Yang Talisman. At this moment, Lu Qing felt that under the light of the divine soul talisman, his heart and spirit were clear and serene, and his divine soul power surged. His sensing ability towards the external heaven and earth energy also became exceptionally clear. Every slight change reflected upon his heart and spirit. This is because his divine soul power increased greatly, and his sensitivity to the heaven and earth rules became sharper. However, this was not Lu Qing's greatest gain. The breakthrough in his divine soul allowed him to finally grasp that vague inspiration in his heart, and he now had clues for deducing the cultivation technique of the 10th transition of the Golden Core. So this is it: to truly break convention and surpass limits, it is necessary to achieve true perfection in the physical body, divine soul, and mana, then combine these 3 to possibly break through limits and truly step into that incredible realm. A realization arose in Lu Qing's heart. At this moment, he finally understood how to tread the path of the 10th transition of the Golden Core. However, after understanding, a new doubt arose in Lu Qing's heart. The 10th transition of the Golden Core requires the physical body, divine soul, and mana to all reach the Golden Core perfect realm. But how did those historical geniuses who refined the perfect Golden Core manage to break through? Or was it that, like me, some were trapped at that realm? Not everyone cultivated all 12 transitions of the Golden Core to perfection. Achieving perfection in the physical body, divine soul, and mana seems simple to speak of. But Lu Qing knew very well how difficult it was to reach this step. It was through countless creations and possessing a superpower, and only through a lucky chance that he managed to cultivate all 3 to perfection. Could it be that those with the perfect Golden Core also had creations comparable to mine? Thinking for a while, Lu Qing still couldn't understand, so he decided not to think about it any further. Since leaving his homeland, he had not encountered anyone else who formed a perfect Golden Core like him. He also didn't know if anyone in this era, aside from him, had reached this step, so there was no reference available. He gathered his heart and spirit, focusing his attention on the present. Before him, the extensive icy valley had fully manifested, suspended in the air. Intense power exuded. The snow filled with celestial gale became more violent, causing the temperature within a 100-mile radius to plummet drastically. Even Golden Core realm experts must activate mana to protect themselves to avoid being frozen stiff. At the moment Ice Soul Valley completely manifested, the surrounding experts had already used their movement techniques, transforming into streams of light, and rushed in. After thinking for a moment, Lu Qing decided to go in and take a look. Although right now he really wanted to immediately retreat and deduce the 10th transition cultivation technique, clearly this was not the appropriate time. Now that he had fully grasped that thread of inspiration, understanding how to break through the limits, the 10th transition was within reach. Delaying the deduction a bit longer wouldn't hurt. The beginning is always difficult, but now that he had clarified the path ahead, not only the 10th transition but even the 11th and 12th transitions, he had vague ideas. After exploring Ice Soul Valley, he would retreat once more to fully deduce the last 3 transition cultivation techniques. At that time, his path to the Golden Core realm could aim directly at true perfection. Suppressing the joy in his heart, Lu Qing also stood up from the auspicious clouds, stepping forward towards the vast snowy valley. Inside this Ice Soul Valley, there's more than meets the eye, and these rules can forcibly suppress a person's cultivation. Upon entering Snow Valley, Lu Qing's face showed an expression of surprise. He found that the space inside was much larger than it appeared from the outside. As if entering endless snowy mountains, even with his powerful divine soul, he couldn't sense the end. More importantly, Ice Soul Valley contained some peculiar rules. It was impossible to use power beyond the primordial spirit realm. No wonder those Golden Core realm experts didn't retreat when they saw those 3 primordial spirit great powers, daring to come in to explore opportunities. Turns out the strange Snow Valley has such a restriction. A realization arose in Lu Qing's heart. Previously, he found it strange that despite the presence of primordial spirit great powers, those at the Golden Core realm were still undeterred, awaiting the emergence of Ice Soul Valley. Now he finally understood the reason. Glancing around, Lu Qing did not see any figures. This peculiar place also somewhat suppressed divine soul sensing, and he did not sense any other cultivators' auras. The strong ones who entered earlier, he didn't know where they went. Little Li, have you sensed anything? Only then did Lu Qing realize that after breaking through, he was too delighted to the point of forgetting to use his superpower to investigate the roots of Ice Soul Valley. He had to ask Little Li for information. The small one's mystical treasure sensing ability should be able to discover something. Sure enough, as soon as he entered Ice Soul Valley, Little Li's eyes lit up. Excitedly, Little Li said to Lu Qing, "Ah Qing, there are so many treasures here." "Oh, so many treasures?" Lu Qing raised an eyebrow. "Then you lead the way, we'll go take a look." Immediately, under Little Li's guidance, Lu Qing moved toward the treasure closest to them. Not long after, he arrived under a gigantic ancient tree. "It's right below. There's the aura of a treasure," Little Li said to Lu Qing. Lu Qing gently swept his hand, and under the surge of mana, the snow layer beneath the tree was brushed away, revealing a spiritual medicine. Lu Qing used his superpower to examine it, and quickly obtained the information of this spiritual medicine. Snow Spirit Ginseng, middle grade initial stage spiritual medicine. Contains ice element spiritual charm, can calm the heart and spirit, enhance cultivation, especially effective for ice element cultivators. After reading the few lines of information that floated in his vision, Lu Qing showed a slight smile. Quite lucky, the first spiritual medicine is of middle grade. If exchanged for spirit stone, it's quite valuable. Harvesting this Snow Spirit Ginseng, Lu Qing, under Little Li's guidance, picked several more spiritual medicines nearby. However, this time the quality wasn't as good. Lu Qing didn't reject anything, and picked them all. The spiritual medicines in this Ice Soul Valley are of higher quality than those outside, plus they contain cold ice attribute. Even the lower grade ones are rather precious. "Ah Qing, there's a spiritual medicine below. I can feel it's the strongest among the surrounding treasures." Again under a big tree, Little Li pointed at the snow layer below and told Lu Qing. Lu Qing brushed away the snow layer, only to see another larger tree trunk lying beneath. But it had already decayed. Who knows how many years it had endured. On the decayed tree trunk, an exquisitely translucent spiritual medicine, shaped like Ganoderma, was taking root. Lu Qing was about to use his superpower to examine its root. Suddenly, he felt a slight movement in his heart, only to see a wisp of cold air suddenly rushing toward him. If not for his powerful divine soul, he might not have sensed it. With a flick of his finger, he flicked towards that wisp of cold intent. Only hearing a ding sound, A transparent needle-shaped magical treasure was flicked back and pierced into the trunk of another big tree. Lu Qing's expression remained unchanged, looking toward the direction the cold intent came from. "Oh, kid, you have some skills? Able to sense my invisible needle?" A slightly astonished voice came from the woods. The transparent flying needle treasure also flew out from the tree trunk and disappeared into the woods. Soon after, a person walked out slowly. The person was dressed in a green robe, a middle-aged man with a strong presence, unreserved. Seeing this person, Lu Qing had a thought. He recognized him. This was one of the dozen people who came after him. However, his cultivation wasn't weak, having already stepped into the late stage of the Golden Core realm, reaching the 7th transition realm. "Who are you, sir? And why did you suddenly attack me?" Lu Qing asked calmly. "Heh, kid, you're really asking stupid questions. Attacking you is naturally for the spiritual medicine. But since you could detect my invisible needle, I'll spare you this time, Scram, and the snow Ganoderma belongs to me now." The middle-aged man's gaze fell on the exquisitely translucent spiritual medicine, eyes showing a hint of heat. He hadn't expected this kid to be so lucky. Actually discovering a snow Ganoderma of such quality, and looking at this snow Ganoderma's appearance, it was already fully mature, reaching the middle-grade upper stage level. As long as he harvested it, then coming to this valley wouldn't be in vain. So it's for this spiritual medicine. But what if I don't want to give it up? Lu Qing didn't get angry, still asking calmly. "Don't want to give it up? Then you can die." Unexpectedly, the middle-aged man in green didn't expect Lu Qing to dare refuse. But he didn't hesitate, immediately furrowing his brows, waving his hand, and countless transparent flying needles suddenly appeared, enveloping Lu Qing. The power was strong, almost capable of cutting through everything truly fierce. It was a killing move right from the start, aiming to completely annihilate Lu Qing. Seeing Lu Qing about to be pierced by his invisible needle, the middle-aged man's face showed a cold smile. Foolish guy, did he really think that dodging one invisible needle gave him the strength to challenge him? However, before his smile fully appeared, his eyes widened abruptly. Only seeing a sword intent emerged from that kid's body, enveloping him. His prized magical treasure suddenly froze in midair, unable to advance a single bit. Then, an incredibly intense cold intent surged from the depths of his heart. This cold intent was so terrifying, countless times colder than the chill of the snow valley. The middle-aged man in green was horrified, wanting to escape, but it was too late. Just as the mana in his body moved, a sword light already swept across his body. Immediately, the middle-aged man's body stiffened, unable to move anymore. The countless flying needles suspended in front of Lu Qing also began to fall. Even the vitality within his body disappeared entirely in an instant. Lu Qing didn't pay attention to any of this, turning to pick the exquisitely translucent snow Ganoderma, storing it into his Chenkuan pouch. Only then, a bloodline gradually appeared on the middle-aged man's face, frozen with horror. From his head, extending downwards, the body slowly split into two, falling to the ground, dyeing the white snow red. Yet he was already dead, completely fallen. "Ah Qing, your sword Dao is becoming more formidable. Even a Golden Core post-realm expert can't withstand a single strike from you." The tiny body of Little Li emerged from Lu Qing's hood, exclaiming in admiration. That strike from Lu Qing just now even gave it a creepy feeling. "It's just a Golden Core 7th transition." Lu Qing shook his head, walking over to store his body into the leaving fire tripod. With his cultivation, he naturally had long discovered the trajectory of the middle-aged man in green. However, adhering to the principle of, "If people do not offend me, I will not offend them," he hadn't exposed the other's tracks. Unfortunately, the other couldn't resist the greed in his heart and wanted to attack him. In that case, he couldn't be blamed for being ruthless. "That's true, Ah Qing. You've slain so many in the primordial spirit realm. A small Golden Core 7th transition is naturally nothing." Little Li also laughed at this moment. The difference lay in that previously when Lu Qing killed those in the Golden Core realm, He relied on his overpowering power of the physical body. This time, slaying this golden core realm was through sword Dao, which was why it was amazed. All right, enough about this. Little Li, are there other treasures nearby? There's nothing noteworthy nearby. The rest are mostly some inferior spiritual medicines. Do you want to pick them, Ah Qing? No need. Since the spiritual medicines nearby are collected, let's move to other places. For subpar spiritual medicines, Lu Qing saw no use in collecting them, no need to waste effort. Boom! Just as Lu Qing was about to take little Li and move to another place, suddenly, the entire space trembled. Soon after, several formidable auras rose, colliding continuously. What's happening? Are those in the primordial spirit realm fighting? Lu Qing was slightly astonished. He already sensed that these powerful auras were precisely the few primordial spirit great powers outside the Ice Soul Valley previously. Why are a few primordial spirit great powers suddenly fighting? Did they discover some treasure? It must be, otherwise, why would they fight so fiercely? At the same time, the other Golden Core realm in the Ice Soul Valley also sensed these auras. All of them were puzzled and started speculating about the reason. Lu Qing was the same, but before he could understand the situation, a loud voice suddenly rang out. Zhao Xintan, you want to take this mystic cold flame without asking us? Ha ha ha, since you've discovered it, there's nothing more to say. Let's let our skills do the talking and have a fight. The winner takes the mystic cold flame. At this moment, a voice rang out. Lu Qing was the same. Before he could understand the situation, a loud voice suddenly rang out. Zhao Xintan, you want to take this mystic cold flame without asking us? Mystic cold flame? Is such an exotic treasure appearing in the world? According to records, the last appearance of mystic cold flame was over 3,000 years ago, right? The emergence of this spiritual fire. It's no wonder these three are in conflict. Upon hearing the name Mystic Cold Flame, those in the Ice Soul Valley at the Golden Core realm finally understood the sudden skirmish among the three in the Primordial Spirit realm. It turns out this spiritual fire is being nurtured and emerging. One should know Mystic Cold Flame is recognized as the #1 spiritual object in the Ice Soul Valley. Even for those in the Primordial Spirit Great Power, it's a treasure seldom seen. However, the occurrence of this spiritual fire is extremely rare, happening once in several thousand or even tens of thousands of years. Unexpectedly, it appeared suddenly this time. Yet, even knowing the mystic cold flame has appeared, most at the Golden Core realm do not dare to approach and join the excitement. Although the Ice Soul Valley has an invisible rule that suppresses the cultivation of the primordial spirit realm to the same level as theirs, forbidding the use of power beyond the primordial spirit. Yet the understanding and application of power by great powers in the primordial spirit realm far exceeds the Golden Core realm. Even the ultimate Golden Core perfected through 9 transformations would be somewhat inferior before them. If they were to go and accidentally provoke those three, making them think they want to grab a share, wouldn't that be terrible? Of course, where there are cautious ones, there are also daring ones. A few individuals at the Golden Core realm, confident in their concealing breath Tao skill or possessing strong magical treasures, decided they had the ability to protect themselves and quietly snuck over, hoping to fish in troubled waters. Did it really become Mystic Cold Flame? Lu Qing was greatly surprised. He recalled how, in the city before, the shop helper mentioned 6 treasures with Mystic Cold Flame ranked first. Interesting, let's go have a look. Lu Qing showed an intrigued expression and stepped out, already disappearing from the spot, heading towards the place where the 3 in the primordial spirit realm were. The aura fluctuations of the 3 in the primordial spirit realm were roughly located at the center of Ice Soul Valley. With Lu Qing's speed, he arrived there quickly. As he approached, Lu Qing sensed other hidden auras nearby. He was somewhat surprised. There were indeed fearless ones trying to hide under the noses of several great powers in the primordial spirit, attempting to fish in troubled waters. However, Lu Qing only slightly sensed them before disregarding them, focusing on what lay ahead. In front, 3 figures were intermingling in battle in the sky, with various magical treasures and Taoist skills clashing. unleashing terrifying might that made people tremble in fear. A tall altar was beneath the three in the primordial spirit realm, heavily sealed, with a wisp of bluish flame flickering at its center. Upon seeing that wisp of bluish flame, Lu Qing immediately used his superpower to check. Soon, several strings of information floated up from within. Mystic Cold Flame. Supreme Spiritual Fire. A precious spiritual fire derived from the original law of Ice Soul Valley. This flame contains Ice Law, possessing extreme cold capable of freezing everything. This spiritual fire also possesses the ability to freeze the divine soul. If this spiritual fire can be refined, it not only can perform bone marrow cleansing and transformation, but also allow continuous contemplation of the internal Ice Law, enhancing the realm. This mystic cold flame is truly mysterious. No wonder it's the #1 treasure in Ice Soul Valley. After Lu Qing finished reading the various mysterious introductions about the mystic cold flame, he immediately decided he must obtain this item. No reason this spiritual fire is too suitable for Little Yen. If Little Yen can refine it into her life-bound spiritual fire, she will surely gain immense benefits. Feeling the strength of the seals on the altar and seeing the three in the primordial spirit realm still battling in the sky, Lu Qing understood why the three hadn't directly taken the mystic cold flame. Because the seals on the altar were extremely strong and not easily broken. The three are mutually restrained, unable to break the seal and collect the spiritual fire in a moment. However, he also knew that, despite their battle, their heart and spirit surely pay attention below, and anyone daring to touch the mystic cold flame on the altar would certainly provoke their fury. By then, with three in the primordial spirit realm striking in wrath, even the ultimate golden core perfected through 9 transformations would be instantly smashed. And Lu Qing temporarily did not want to expose too much strength. To seize the mystic cold flame, he had to plan carefully. After all, he's currently wanted by the Holy Alliance, and showing the ability to easily defeat great powers in the primordial spirit would likely expose his identity immediately. After thinking for a while, Lu Qing suddenly transmitted to Little Li. "Little Li, I have a plan I need you to cooperate with later." As Lu Qing expressed his plans, Little Li's eyes gradually brightened. After he finished, Little Li nodded excitedly. "All right, let's do it as Ah Qing said. Remember, act according to your ability. If you sense anything wrong, return immediately, no need to force it," Lu Qing reminded. "Got it." Before the sound of Little Li's voice faded, the figure had already vanished, merging into the space. Even Lu Qing couldn't capture its presence. The three in the primordial spirit realm battling above were even more oblivious. "Ah Qing, I'm in position." After a while, Little Li's voice echoed in Lu Qing's mind. "All right, later when I slash open the seal, immediately collect the mystic cold flame and return at once," Lu Qing responded. Immediately, Lu Qing began to slowly brew sword intent, trying to restrain his aura as much as possible so as not to alert the 3 primordial spirit realm beings above. Yes, his plan was to first let Little Li use its space divine ability to sneak in front of that altar. Then, at the moment he broke the seal, Little Li would take away the spiritual fire. This way, there would be no need to confront the 3 primordial spirit realm beings head-on. As for Little Li's safety, Lu Qing wasn't worried either. Not to mention that he would be watching over it, but speaking of Little Li, ever since it cultivated the witch body in the secret realm, it had also mastered the first transformation of the 9 transformations of the true dragon. Not only did it give its strength a qualitative leap, but even its space divine ability underwent a metamorphosis. Now it could merge with space, making it difficult for even those in the primordial spirit initial realm to detect. Lu Qing brewed his sword intent silently, while the 3 primordial spirit beings in the sky were completely unaware. Quickly, he finished brewing the sword intent and slightly opened his eyes. The next moment, a cold light appeared abruptly, and brilliance flickered. A dazzling sword light was slashed by him, swiftly heading towards that altar. As Lu Qing unleashed the sword, the 3 primordial spirit realm beings in the sky immediately reacted. The three suddenly felt a sword intent that made them shudder appear sharply, and they couldn't care less about their entanglement, retreating repeatedly and looking down. Then they saw a highly condensed and sharp sword light slashing towards the altar, sealing the mystic cold flame. In just an instant, it broke that seal, which was enough to withstand a primordial spirit realm strike, exposing the mystic cold flame outside. Before they could react, a small furry paw reached out from the void, took the mystic cold flame, and disappeared again. Bold! Daring to steal under our noses! Seeing this scene, the three primordial spirit realm beings immediately understood what was happening. Someone had taken advantage of their entanglement to snatch the mystic cold flame right from them. Ah Ching! I got it! Little Li's figure appeared on Lu Qing's shoulder, burrowing into the hood behind his neck. Lu Qing, without hesitation, turned into a sword light and fled rapidly outward. Little thief! Do you think you can escape? The three primordial spirit great powers had already noticed Lu Qing when he unleashed the sword light. Seeing him flee, they didn't hesitate and immediately gave chase. At the same time, they also sensed that Lu Qing's aura was merely at the Golden Core realm, making them even angrier. The three of them were fighting fiercely above, only to have their efforts snatched away by a mere Golden Core realm thief. If word got out, how could they still have any face? So, whether to reclaim the mystic cold flame or to restore their dignity, they must capture this Golden Core realm thief and let him feel the consequences of provoking primordial spirit great powers. It sounds like a long story, but in fact, from when Lu Qing unleashed the sword light, to literally taking the mystic cold flame, and then to his escape with the three great primordial spirits chasing him, everything happened in the blink of an eye. Until the figures of the three primordial spirits disappeared, the few Golden Core realm cultivators hiding in the snowy forest, wanting to take advantage of the chaos, finally reacted to what had happened. They were all dumbfounded immediately, not even bothering to hide their own figures anymore. Wow! Who is that guy? So fierce. Actually daring to forcibly snatch the mystic cold flame under the noses of the three great primordial spirits. If he gets caught, he will certainly die miserably. Those three primordial spirit realm cultivators won't let him off without peeling him alive. That kid looks a bit familiar. Wasn't he the one sitting on the auspicious cloud, pretending to cultivate before the Ice Soul Valley fully revealed itself? He's in trouble then. The three great primordial spirits definitely won't spare him. That mere Golden Core realm dares to toy with great powers. That kid is done for. Several Golden Core realm cultivators all believed firmly that Lu Qing would definitely be captured by the three primordial spirit realm beings and tortured to death. However, what they didn't know was that, at this moment, the three primordial spirit great powers they mentioned were filled with shock. How can this kid's tunneling light be this fast? One of the primordial spirit realm holders couldn't believe what he was seeing as he looked at the tunneling light Lu Qing had turned into. Because, even though the three of them were in the primordial spirit realm and had pushed their movement techniques to the limit, they couldn't close the distance. On the contrary, that kid's tunneling light seemed to be getting farther away. This indicated that the opponent's tunneling speed was even several fractions faster than the three of their primordial spirit realms. This kid is a sword cultivator and his cultivation isn't weak. He must be at least at Golden Core 8th or 9th turn. Otherwise, his speed couldn't be this fast. Another primordial spirit realm felt the sword intent emanating from Lu Qing and made a judgment. Damn it, our cultivation is being suppressed to the Golden Core level by this Ice Soul Valley, and now we're being humiliated by a mere Golden Core realm junior. The other two primordial spirit realm wielders also didn't look too good. They were primordial spirit great powers, but none of them specialized in speed. If it were outside, capturing a Golden Core realm would be easy. But now that their cultivation was suppressed to the Golden Core level, facing a sword cultivator Golden Core renowned for speed, they couldn't catch up, which was simply a great humiliation. Wait, it seems this kid is fleeing towards the outside of the Ice Soul Valley? At this moment, the first primordial spirit realm voice suddenly sounded. The other two's eyes brightened upon hearing this. They discerned and found that Lu Qing was indeed fleeing towards the outside of the Ice Soul Valley, and were immediately overjoyed. This kid is obviously in a panic and lost his head. He actually dares to flee outside the valley. Once he's out of the Ice Soul Valley, no matter how fast he is, he won't escape. Realizing the direction of Lu Qing's escape, the three primordial spirit realm beings felt invigorated. Once they're out of Ice Soul Valley, without the suppression of those strange laws, their cultivation would return, and no matter how fast that kid is, he couldn't escape their grasp. Immediately, the three kept a close watch on Lu Qing's tunneling light, not giving him any chance to escape. At this moment, the three great primordial spirit realms, who were originally fighting fiercely, came together with a singular goal like never before. They had just one target, which was to definitely capture that little thief in front, grind his bones to dust, and torture him to death. Ah Qing, they're chasing us closely, what do we do? Little Li sensed the three primordial spirit realm beings following closely behind and asked. However, there was no hint of nervousness in its tone, because it knew that those three people behind were not opponents of Ah Qing at all. Let them follow for now. Once we're out of the valley, they won't be able to keep up, Lu Qing said indifferently. In this Ice Soul Valley, he's bound by rules, and his teleportation talisman cannot directly transport him out of the valley. Even his speed is limited to the peak of the Golden Core realm. If it weren't for these constraints, he would have plenty of ways to shake off those three primordial spirit realms. The Ice Soul Valley, though vast, was quickly traversed by Lu Qing to the valley's entrance due to his speed. Without hesitating, he directly flew outward. That little thief really dashed out of the valley. The three primordial spirit realms, already outpaced by some distance, were overjoyed to see this scene. In their minds, they were already thinking about how to torture this little thief once they captured him. Right then, they saw that Lu Qing, just as he was about to dash out of the Ice Soul Valley, suddenly turned around and slashed out three sword auras, each flying towards them. Arrogant Junior. The three primordial spirit realms, upon seeing this, were furious and laughed. They never expected that this little thief, while fleeing, would dare to attack them, which was simply ignoring their existence. Wait, this sword chi. However, as the sword chi was about to reach them, the three primordial spirits suddenly felt a chilling sensation. Those three sword chi suddenly exploded with a murderous aura of sword intent, a world-cleaving, all-annihilating aura that made them feel a sense of impending death. In shock, the three immediately forgot everything else, their bodies bursting with radiant light as they each used all their power to block those three sword chi. Boom! 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 With three explosions that shook the entire Ice Soul Valley, the vast surge of power instantly turned the snow forest for miles into rubble. Endless sword chi enveloped the three primordial spirit realm cultivators. The power dispersed, shattering the snow forest within a radius of several miles. Only after more than 10 breaths did the sword chi dissipate, revealing the figures of the three primordial spirit realm cultivators. At this moment, the three primordial spirit realm cultivators appeared rather disheveled. Their bodies were sliced by sword chi, their magic robes tattered, and blood dripped profusely. Even their aura had weakened significantly. It was evident that fending off Lu Qing's sword chi had left them each gravely wounded. The faces of the three primordial spirit realm cultivators were grim as they forsook healing to chase swiftly. Yet when they arrived outside Ice Soul Valley, how could they still see the figure of that little thief? Above the sky, there was only emptiness, with the endless snow-based celestial gale blowing. Within 100 miles, there was no one. Earlier, that little thief had already disappeared without a trace. Even his aura could no longer be detected. The three primordial spirit realm cultivators immediately used secret techniques to calculate. The result they found was a blur, completely unable to deduce the direction of the thief's escape. It was apparent that the other party carried a secret treasure that could shield against causality. By now it was unknown where he had fled. Realizing this, the faces of the three suddenly turned extremely unsightly. Damn it! If only our path hadn't been blocked by that sword chi, he wouldn't have escaped so easily. One of the primordial spirit realm cultivators cursed in frustration. The other two primordial spirit realm cultivators remained silent. Lu Qing's sword chi earlier had truly astonished them greatly. It had reached a genuine Golden Core realm limit, the maximum power allowed by the rules in Ice Soul Valley. Even if they burst out with full force, they could do no more than this. If not for this, how could they have been wounded unexpectedly by a Golden Core realm cultivator? To possess such strength in the Golden Core realm, he must be a top Golden Core at the 9th transformation perfection. And to achieve this, he must be cultivating from an extremely profound Sword Dao inheritance. Otherwise, it would be impossible to harm them. Have any of you noticed that his Sword Chi is extraordinarily exceptional? Does it resemble the legendary Sword Dao inheritance from some place? At this moment, one of the primordial spirit realm cultivators suddenly asked. The other two were taken aback. Legendary Sword Dao inheritance? Another primordial spirit realm cultivator showed doubt at first, but recalling those 3 Sword Chi from earlier, he experienced a sudden chill. Could you be talking about that place? Otherwise, aside from there, I can't think of any place capable of cultivating such terrifying sword intent. Wait, what are you talking about? Which place? The third primordial spirit realm cultivator remained confused. Skybreaking Sword Sect. The first primordial spirit realm cultivator solemnly responded. That legendary sword cultivation Holy Land. Earlier that little thief's sword chi carried a meaning of severing the heavens and annihilating everything, greatly resembling the Skybreaking Sword Sect's Skybreaking Sword Chi of legend. Skybreaking Sword Sect? The third primordial spirit realm cultivator gasped upon hearing this. That Sword Dao sect full of lunatics? Though incredulous, recalling the little thief's sword chi from earlier, he had no choice but to concede this speculation was not without merit. The sharp and fearsome sword chi was unmatched in his experience. Other than a disciple from that legendary Sword Dao sect, it's hard to imagine other sword cultivators achieving it. Even in the Heavenly Origin Great World, among the top Sword Dao sects like the Heavenly Sword Sect, the cultivated sword intent is not as dominant and fierce. Could a disciple from Skybreaking Sword Sect actually be training in our Heavenly Origin Great World? I wonder if the Holy Alliance is aware of this. Whether they're aware or not is beyond us. If he truly is a disciple of the Skybreaking Sword Sect, it's no wonder he's so audacious, daring to snatch the chestnuts from the fire under our noses. Unfortunately, looks like we'll have to swallow this loss. Guessing that the thief might be a disciple of the Skybreaking Sword Sect, the 3 primordial spirit realm cultivators knew that reclaiming face in this matter might be an impossible task. Skybreaking Sword Sect, that legendary sword cultivation Holy Land, possessed terrifying strength and its reputation resounded, even shaking neighboring immortal domains. Despite not having many disciples, each one was immensely powerful, true peerless prodigies capable of suppressing countless prodigies of an era with their formidable strength. Most importantly, the Skybreaking Sword Sect was extremely protective of its disciples. If a disciple suffered bullying, if the contest was within the same realm, it might be acceptable. But if older cultivators tried to use their realm to oppress, it's easy to provoke the sect's monstrous elders. It truly was a sect where hitting the young would summon the old. Hence, powers in nearby immortal domains steered clear of those from the Skybreaking Sword Sect. Few would invite trouble proactively. If Lu Qing truly was a disciple of the Skybreaking Sword Sect, the 3 primordial spirit realm cultivators were fortunate they hadn't caught up with him earlier. Otherwise, getting tangled with such a hot potato would have brought sheer misfortune. Forget it, forget it. Who would have thought that after rarely seeing the mystic cold flame appear, it would be snatched away? Seems my luck's running low recently. Better to stop wandering outside. One primordial spirit realm cultivator sighed, choosing not to even enter Ice Soul Valley, transforming into a streak of light as he fled away. Zhao the old demon actually left? The remaining 2 primordial spirit realm cultivators found it surprising. Still, without dwelling on it, exchanging glances once more, they re-entered Ice Soul Valley. Though the mystic cold flame was gone, other treasures potentially found in the valley were still quite useful to them. It's rare to come here, so I must not really return empty-handed. Lu Qing didn't know that the sword chi he unleashed before leaving actually made 3 primordial spirit realm experts feel apprehensive, dispelling even the thought of seeking revenge on him. As he flew out of the Ice Soul Valley, sensing no one around, he immediately activated the teleportation talisman, shifting through the void and appearing hundreds of miles away. The sensing abilities of a primordial spirit initial realm, while powerful, have not reached the extent of covering hundreds of miles with a single thought, so naturally, they couldn't track his whereabouts. After flying another 1,000 miles, Lu Qing found a cave in a mountain forest, where he set up an array to conceal his aura. Ah Qing here. Little Li emerged from the hood, taking out a jade bottle. Inside it was the mystic cold flame. Lu Qing took the jade bottle and inspected it. This jade bottle was one of the numerous treasures he obtained during the battle on Tianshu Divine Mountain. It was a treasure-level jade bottle, capable of containing various supernormal fires and spiritual fires. Otherwise, an ordinary magic artifact might not necessarily withstand the power of the mystic cold flame. After checking and finding no issue, Lu Qing put away the jade bottle. Ah Qing, aren't you going to refine it? Little Li asked. It knew that Lu Qing's cultivation path inherently embraced all 5 elements, capable of refining various attributes of spiritual objects and treasures. After cultivating with the techniques acquired from the secret realm, he became even more capable of refining everything, embracing all. This mystic cold flame, while mysterious, shouldn't be a challenge for Lu Qing. I don't need this spiritual fire. It's meant for little Yen. Lu Qing patted the little guy's head. For little Yen? Oh right, the cultivation technique little Yen practices is just right for this spiritual fire. Little Li finally realized. Speaking of little Yen, the little guy became somewhat downcast. Ah Qing, when are we going home? We've been out for so many years, and I miss little Yen. Soon, not too long now, we'll be able to go back. Lu Qing reassured. He had now figured out how to proceed beyond the 9 transitions of the Golden Core. Next, as long as he deduced the last 3 transitions of the perfect Golden Core skill. Given his current talent, it wouldn't take too long to cultivate it to perfection. Then, once he achieved the primordial spirit, his foundation would be exceedingly deep. After achieving the primordial spirit, he would return to his homeland world, ensuring absolute safety, without experiencing the previous dangers of coming over. However, after deducing the last 3 transitions of the perfect Golden Core skill, I'll still need to earn some more spirit stones. Thinking of this, Lu Qing felt a bit helpless. As his cultivation techniques increased, his foundation grew deeper, and his power stronger. This is certainly a good thing, something many would dream of. But likewise, having too deep a foundation means each advancement in his cultivation demands a vast amount of resources. The battle years ago on Tianshu Divine Mountain earned Lu Qing quite a few spirit stones. However, after over a decade in closed-door training, his cultivation reached the Golden Core 9 transitions of perfection, and he stepped into the realm of great success in the path of the witch. While the increase in strength was rapid, the consumption of spirit stones was equally terrifying. So much so that the remaining spirit stones in his possession were now quite scarce. The last 3 transitions of the Golden Core 12 transitions will undoubtedly require a terrifying amount of resources. If he doesn't find a way to get more spirit stones and relies solely on nature's spiritual energy to cultivate, Lu Qing would have no idea how many years or months it would take to break through to the 12th transition realm, let alone achieving the primordial spirit. So he decided to first deduce the last 3 transitions of the perfect Golden Core skill and then find a way to earn some spirit stones. Back then in my homeland world, it was due to a lack of spiritual energy and scarce spirit stones that I left. Yet even here in the heavenly origin great world, there's still such a shortage of spirit stones. Lu Qing shook his head with a wry smile. Then after giving Little Li some instructions, he activated his superpower and resumed closed-door training once again in this humble cave. The mountain has no calendar, and cultivation time always flies by quickly. Before long, half a year passed swiftly. Sitting cross-legged in the cave, immersed in deducing the cultivation technique, Lu Qing finally opened his eyes. His gaze was indifferent, like stars revolving, filled with wisdom. After a long while, the visions in Lu Qing's eyes vanished, and an overwhelming sense of exhaustion surged into his divine soul. sustaining high-intensity deducing of cultivation techniques for half a year, even with the aid of his superpower and divine soul talisman reaching the realm of Yang talisman perfection, still left him somewhat overwhelmed. Yet despite his weariness, his eyes revealed a hint of immense joy. Half a year of deduction. I finally worked out the last 3 transitions. Indeed, during this half year of closed-door training, Lu Qing, following the inspiration he captured during the Ice Soul Valley incident, continuously deduced, and now finally worked out the last 3 transitions of the perfect golden core skill. However, just as I initially realized, to step into the 10th transition, I must first cultivate mana, physical body, and divine soul to the perfection level of the golden core 9 transitions. Only by unifying the 3 can I possibly break through that barrier, surpass the limits, and enter that extraordinary realm. But my physical body is still lacking. Lu Qing's current cultivation involves the path of the Tao, which clan inheritance, and the cultivation of his homeland world's seal sect inheritance. These correspond to the paths of mana, physical body, and divine soul. He had cultivated both mana and divine soul to the equivalent of the golden core 9 transitions of perfection. However, his physical body was only at the great success realm of the witch. There's still a way to go before reaching perfection. And the shortfall is because the remaining spirit stones he has are insufficient to support him in cultivating his physical body to the realm of witch perfection. Seems like I can't avoid going out of seclusion. Lu Qing sighed, then stood up. Ah Qing, you finished cultivating? Lu Qing's movement immediately woke little Li, who was cultivating on the other side. It's a temporary pause. Little Li, how is your cultivation coming along? Not bad. I feel that I might be able to start practicing the 2nd transformation of the True Dragon 9 transformations soon. Little Li said happily. So quickly reaching an insight into the 2nd transformation? Lu Qing was a bit surprised. It seems the technique given by that senior is indeed very suitable for you. Of course, I'm not that stupid snake who cultivates so slowly, the little fellow said proudly, raising its head. Lu Qing nodded slightly, not retorting. Little Li's comprehension ability indeed surpassed that of the 5 elements by quite a lot. Bear in mind, that foolish 5 elements still hasn't fully grasped the 1st transformation yet. Do you need to continue your closed-door training for a while longer? Lu Qing was originally planning to leave seclusion immediately, but if little Li was at a crucial moment, he wouldn't mind waiting. However, being with Lu Qing for so many years, the understanding between them was well honed. Upon hearing Lu Qing's words, little Li immediately understood. Are you thinking of going out, Ah Qing? The spirit stones we have are almost depleted. I'm planning to go out and see if I can acquire some, Lu Qing answered honestly. Going out to earn spirit stones? Upon hearing this, little Li's eyes lit up. Great. Let's go out quickly then. Anyway, with insights, I can cultivate in the Leaving Fire tripod too. Earning spirit stones is the priority. The little guy knew that Lu Qing's current cultivation was incredibly demanding on spirit stones. It had witnessed this during their 10 years of closed-door training. The rate at which spirit stones were consumed was astonishing enough to make it feel alarmed. If there were no spirit stones to assist, Lu Qing's cultivation would certainly slow down. Therefore, earning spirit stones was extremely important. Moreover, with its treasure-seeking nature long since ignited, it was equally interested in earning spirit stones. All right, once you finish your training, we can head out. Let's leave seclusion now then. Lu Qing contemplated for a moment but saw no reason not to agree. Ah Qing, where should we go to earn spirit stones? In the sky above, Lu Qing was flying leisurely, while little Li lay on his shoulder and asked. At this time, they had already left the cave and come outside. Let me think again. Actually, Lu Qing was also rather troubled. He had quite a lot of treasures at hand now. During the battle at Tianshu Divine Mountain years ago, he obtained several spiritual artifacts, not to mention the powerful treasures, which were even more plentiful. Each one is of great value, and if he could sell them, he could easily exchange them for a large amount of spirit stones. But these powerful magical treasures all have owners, and the original owners are mostly strong individuals from various forces. If he dares to sell them, His identity as Chun Qing could be exposed immediately. At that time, surely many strong individuals would come to suppress him. Although Lu Qing's strength has greatly increased now, the ordinary primordial spirit initial realm is already not his opponent. But he wasn't arrogant enough to think he could truly withstand those primordial spirit realm monsters who had survived several tribulations. However, if he doesn't sell the treasures in the heavenly origin great world, he has neither connections nor avenues, unlike when he was in the Little Tsang realm. Getting a large amount of spirit stones in a short time would be difficult. After thinking for a while, Lu Qing's heart was stirred, and he suddenly remembered someone. If it's that person, perhaps he could help him. Thinking of this, Lu Qing smiled. Got it. Let's go. Ah Qing, you've figured it out. Where will we go now? To find an old friend. A month later, Lu Qing, with little Li, crossed multiple continental domains and arrived at a continent called Green Ox Continent. The heavenly origin great world is vast beyond imagination. Just the human race territory alone is immensely vast. Even for Lu Qing, without exposing too much of his strength, crossing a domain takes quite a bit of time. After entering Green Ox Continent, Lu Qing saw that the architectural style here had changed again. Everywhere were temples, and even the number of Taoists had greatly increased. Green Ox Continent is also a very special continent in the heavenly origin great world. This continent is prevalent in Taoism, with countless temples, and numerous strong Taoist sect forces are located here. Among them is Daoshu Temple, which Lu Qing once encountered at Tianshu Divine Mountain Sect. It's one of the top major sects in the entire heavenly origin great world. However, Lu Qing's visit to Green Ox Continent this time is not for Daoshu Temple but to find an old friend. Ah Qing, you said we're going to find the 5 treasures Taoist. Won't he betray us by leaking our whereabouts? Lu Qing walked in a big city, with little Li peeking out from his clothes and observing the surroundings, secretly worried and asking Lu Qing through divine soul transmission. It's important to know that Ah Qing and he were both under a bounty order from the Holy Alliance. Adding to that the sect force's rewards, many people wish to find their whereabouts. Don't worry, the Taoist is not like that, and we aren't going to see him directly. Let's see the situation first. Lu Qing reassured. With that, he took out a communication jade token and entered a message. This communication jade token was exchanged with the 5 treasures Taoist during the trial in the secret realm of Tianshu Divine Mountain years ago, to prevent losing each other. Though they never used it then, unexpectedly it's useful today. After sending the message, Lu Qing took little Li and found a tavern, choosing a window seat on the 2nd floor, and ordered a table full of dishes, enjoying them while waiting for the 5 treasures Taoist. After he and little Li were full, a while later, his expression shifted, and he looked down. Then he saw a familiar figure appearing on the street below. Who else but the 5 treasures Taoist? However, the 5 treasures Taoist's face now carried a hint of tension that others couldn't easily see. Clearly, he hadn't expected Lu Qing to suddenly seek him out. Upon seeing the 5 treasures Taoist appear, Lu Qing didn't rush out to acknowledge him, but silently observed and activated his superpower. Though he told little Li he trusted the 5 treasures Taoist, he wasn't naive enough to fully believe it. Although when he traveled with the 5 treasures Taoist years ago, they got along very harmoniously, it doesn't mean the other would refrain from selling him out for a lavish reward. The heart of man is unpredictable. It's better to be cautious. After observing for a while, Lu Qing didn't notice anything unusual. When a slip of paper appeared in his view, after reading it, he smiled. However, Lu Qing still didn't reveal himself. Instead, he secretly transmitted his voice to him and then finished the bill, leaving quietly with little Li. The 5 treasures Taoist, upon hearing Lu Qing's transmission, slightly shook his body, glanced around inconspicuously, and then slowly left the city. Finally, after confirming no one was following, he transformed into a stream of light and flew to the mountain range outside the city. Once in the forest, he identified and quickly found the peculiar peak that Lu Qing had told him about, hesitated for a moment, and finally flew over. Just after landing on the summit, the 5 treasures Taoist felt an invisible wave sweep over him, cutting off all communication with the outside world. Clearly, An array had been laid on the entire peak beforehand. Feeling this scene, the Five Treasures Taoist instead breathed a sigh of relief, because he was very familiar with this array's wave. 10 years ago, in that strange secret realm at Tianshu Divine Mountain, he was protected by this array many times. Mr. Chen, is that you? The Five Treasures Taoist looked around. It's been many years, yet you still have the same charisma, and your cultivation has surpassed the past. Lu Qing walked out of the forest, his appearance now back to looking like Chen Qing. Little Li stood on his shoulder, also returning to the appearance of the days when they were with the Five Treasures Taoist. Mr. Chen, Little Li, it really is you both. Seeing Lu Qing and Little Li on his shoulder, the Five Treasures Taoist truly relaxed, revealing a sincere smile. To be honest, he was really startled when he received the message not long ago. His first thought was that someone was trying to deceive him, wanting to probe information about Chen Qing. But after carefully reading the content of the message, he found it unlikely. Because some things mentioned in the message, he had never told anyone else. Logically, only he and Chen Qing should know. Moreover, only Chen Qing knew his communication jade token, and he hadn't told anyone else. So the one who sent the message might really be Chen Qing. To verify his thoughts, he immediately divined, trying to deduce the origin of the person who sent the message. But he found the divination results to be utterly chaotic, impossible to interpret, let alone deduce the person's origin. Just like when he tried to divine Chen Qing in the past. Because of this, it made the Five Treasures Taoist determined, willing to take the risk and rush over. Now that he saw his guess was correct, he finally relaxed. Taoist, have you been well? Lu Qing asked with a smile. Not bad. After leaving the secret realm back then, knowing my own vulnerability, I left immediately, missing Mr. Chen's formidable display of wrath and slaying of a primordial spirit. Truly a regret, said the Five Treasures Taoist. When he followed Qin Zhang and the others out of the secret realm, he directly bade farewell. And the other forces, respecting the Chenquan sect, did not give him, a golden core realm loose cultivator, any trouble. So the Five Treasures Taoist didn't witness the scene where Lu Qing later continuously slew primordial spirits, shaking the four corners. When he heard the news in Tianshu City afterward, he was shocked and immediately wary, slipping away in secret, leaving Tianshu City. After all, it was witnessed by many primordial spirit great powers that he and Lu Qing entered the secret realm together. If those great powers reacted and wanted to capture and interrogate him, it would be disastrous. The fact was that, shortly after the news reached Tianshu City, powerful individuals began searching for the Five Treasures Taoist's whereabouts. But by then, the Five Treasures Taoist had already changed his appearance and disappeared without a trace. Besides, he was extremely good at calculation techniques and knew how to shield himself from karmic ties. So even if others wanted to deduce his whereabouts, they had no clue. No wonder I didn't see you back then, Taoist, Lu Qing realized. During the battle on Tianshu Divine Mountain, he saw Qin Zhang and Yi Qingzhu, but not the Five Treasures Taoist. At that time, he was somewhat worried, thinking something might have happened while he was in closed cultivation in the mysterious space that year. Later, seeing the divine soul mark in the communication jade token still present, he knew the Five Treasures Taoist hadn't perished. Now it seems, this somewhat mysterious chubby Taoist was still as cautious as ever, slipping away right after exiting the secret realm. Mr. Chen, your battle back then was shocking to the world, and even now, those sect forces and noble families might still be searching for your whereabouts, sighed the Five Treasures Taoist. Then what about you, Taoist? I've been labeled by the Holy Alliance as an evil demon with a bounty on my head. Are you still willing to associate with someone like me? Lu Qing said with a half-smile. What are you saying, Mr. Chen? I'm not someone who easily believes in rumors. The Five Treasures Taoist waved his hand. Whether you are an evil demon, I can discern that. The battle that day, to put it bluntly, was just those major forces being jealous of the opportunities you acquired in the secret realm, wanting to seize them. It's not like they haven't done this kind of thing before. They just didn't expect to hit such a hard rock like you. The talk of evil demons is just them finding a pretext for themselves. When he said this, there was sarcasm in the Five Treasures Taoist's eyes. Clearly, there must be many stories behind this person as well. I never expected to earn such trust from you, Taoist. I'm truly honored. Lu Qing laughed. Haha, what those major forces like to do most is label others as evil demons, placing themselves on the moral high ground. This isn't new. Many other forces probably understand what's going on but just don't expose it. The Five Treasures Taoist laughed heartily. It seems you have had your share of experiences, Taoist. Those are things of the past, not worth mentioning. The Five Treasures Taoist shook his head and said, By the way, Mr. Chun, what brings you here to see me this time? The Five Treasures Taoist knew well that his relationship with Lu Qing was far from a heart-to-heart, life-and-death close bond. The fact that Lu Qing braved the risk of exposure to find him must mean there is something important. To be honest, I do have something I'd like to consult you about. Lu Qing didn't pretend but stated directly. Oh, feel free to speak. The Five Treasures Taoist became serious. If there's anything I can help with, I will do my best to assist. Back then in the secret realm, Lu Qing saved him more than once. Later, he selflessly shared the mysteries of the exotic beast bloodline with him, significantly increasing his strength. After coming out, he successfully mastered a powerful secret technique from his sect. All these kindnesses the Five Treasures Taoist kept in mind. Actually, it's not a huge matter. I am currently in need of spirit stones. Do you have any ways to quickly accumulate spirit stones? Lu Qing asked bluntly. You need spirit stones? How much? I do have some saved up. The Five Treasures Taoist instinctively thought that Lu Qing was a little tight on resources and was about to say he could spare some. But Lu Qing's next words made him stop. A minimum of 100,000 middle-grade spirit stones. The more, the better, with no upper limit. 100,000 and above? The Five Treasures Taoist paused for a moment, stammering slightly. He was really taken aback by Lu Qing's figures. You must know Lu Qing was talking about middle-grade spirit stones. If converted to lower-grade spirit stones, it would be astronomical. If it weren't so, I wouldn't have come looking for your help, Taoist. Mr. Chin, you must think too highly of me. What abilities do I have to help you get over 100,000 middle-grade spirit stones? The Five Treasures Taoist said with a bitter smile. You've misunderstood me. I wasn't asking you to get that sum of spirit stones for me. I was hoping you could point out a few paths to quickly earn spirit stones. After all, I'm not familiar with the heavenly origin great world. The Five Treasures Taoist fell silent again. He wasn't surprised when Lu Qing said he was unfamiliar with the heavenly origin great world. He had long suspected that this individual wasn't a native of the heavenly origin great world but came from elsewhere. Otherwise, someone this exceptionally talented shouldn't have been unknown before. He thought seriously for a while before slowly speaking. Actually, to earn spirit stones quickly, there are only a few paths. In the cultivation world, there are a few types of cultivators who are generally the wealthiest: alchemists, artifact refiners, and talisman masters. After all, in the path of cultivation, one cannot do without elixirs, magical treasures, and talismans. If a cultivator can achieve any success in one of these three skills, they would become very popular and sought after by all cultivators. But given your sensitive identity, these three paths require frequent interaction with other cultivators, which might not be suitable for you. Lu Qing nodded slightly. He had also thought about what the Five Treasures Taoist mentioned. He wasn't afraid of interaction, but refining elixirs and magical treasures required a lot of time, not suitable for his current situation. Since those three paths aren't suitable, I do know another unconventional method that might help you quickly accumulate spirit stones. Oh, what might that be? Lu Qing raised an eyebrow, showing interest. Assassination bounties. Assassination bounty? Lu Qing pondered upon hearing this. This was somewhat unexpected for Wu Bao Taoist. He originally thought that upon hearing his proposal, Lu Qing would be surprised to some extent. However, looking at Lu Qing now, he seemed not to be surprised at all. But this thought just flashed across Wu Bao Daoist's mind, and he nodded. Yes, indeed it's an assassination bounty. Mr. Chun, you must have heard of the Netherworld Palace, right? I have heard some things about it. I've heard it's a very mysterious and powerful assassin force, and even the sect leader, many noble clan leaders, and even a demon lord are within their assassination range. I also heard that some sect forces and noble families have bounties on my head in the Netherworld Palace. Lu Qing slowly recounted some of the information he had heard. Indeed, according to reports, sects like the Chenquan sect, the Gongsu family, and other sects and families where Mr. Chun, you have slain the primordial spirit realm members, have placed bounties on you in the Netherworld Palace. At this point, Wu Bao Daoist glanced at Lu Qing with a peculiar expression. To say that so many powerful forces have placed a hefty bounty on him, with the terrifying intelligence capabilities of the Netherworld Palace, they haven't managed to find Lu Qing's whereabouts in these past 10+ years. His ability to remain hidden, much like his mysterious strength, truly amazes others. Then what do you mean by the assassination bounty, Daoist? It's not as if you want me to claim this bounty, right? Lu Qing joked. Of course not. Wu Bao Daoist shook his head. What I mean is, Mr. Chen, you could become an assassin for the Netherworld Palace, picking up their bounty tasks to earn spirit stones. Become an assassin for the Netherworld Palace? Lu Qing was surprised. Can outsiders become assassins for the Netherworld Palace? Naturally, they can. You might not know this, but while the Netherworld Palace is an assassin organization with vast power across multiple immortal domains, in reality, aside from cultivating their elite assassins, they also recruit outside members. And the recruitment conditions are quite simple, regardless of your identity or background. Whether you are a sect disciple or a noble family descendant, or even a loose cultivator, whether you are righteous or evil, human race or the demon clan, they all don't care. The only requirement is that you must pass their trial to become an outside member of the Netherworld Palace. After becoming an outside member, you can take on various assassination bounty tasks from the Netherworld Palace. Once a task is completed, the Netherworld Palace conducts a score evaluation based on the difficulty of the task. Task scores are a crucial basis for the Netherworld Palace to evaluate an assassin's level. As long as you earn enough points, not only can you raise your status and permissions in the Netherworld Palace, but you can also exchange for various cultivation techniques and treasures within the Netherworld Palace to enhance your strength. With Wu Bao Daoist's explanation, Lu Qing finally understood how uniquely the Netherworld Palace operates. Aside from cultivating their elite assassins, they recruit outside members without regard for origin. However, Lu Qing looked at Wu Bao Daoist. Daoist, you seem to know the operating rules of the Netherworld Palace so well. Could it be? Yes. I once participated in the Netherworld Palace's trial to recruit members. Wu Bao Daoist admitted frankly. It's just that my limited ability ultimately didn't allow me to pass the trial. Had I not known some techniques to avoid misfortune, I might have died there. So, this trial by the Netherworld Palace is quite dangerous? It is extremely dangerous, Wu Bao Daoist said with a serious expression. The death rate of that trial is very high. It said that there were instances where an entire trial ended with all participants dead, and none passed the trial. All trialists dead? Lu Qing was startled. So, Mr. Chun, you need to think carefully about whether you want to participate in this trial. Wu Bao Daoist warned. You want to quickly accumulate spirit stones. This is one way, but it is also a path full of danger. The rules of the Netherworld Palace are that once an assassin takes up a task, they take responsibility for their own life and death. If they die during the completion of the task, the Netherworld Palace takes no responsibility for it and won't avenge them. Moreover, there's no trust among the assassins in the Netherworld Palace. Besides, you are already a bounty target in the Netherworld Palace. If your true identity is exposed, who knows how many assassins would be after your head. So if you become a member of the Netherworld Palace, you can only act alone and absolutely should not trust any other assassins. Feeling the solemnity in Wu Bao Daoist's tone, Lu Qing fell silent. After pondering for a while, he suddenly asked, Then if I become an assassin for the Netherworld Palace, are there any restrictions? like being forced to take on assassination tasks I don't want? There aren't any. Wu Bao Daoist said. Actually, while the Netherworld Palace takes no responsibility for the life and death of its outside members, similarly, they almost impose no restrictions on them. You can even openly declare yourself as an assassin for the Netherworld Palace or reveal the location of their base, and it wouldn't bring any punishment. Because the Netherworld Palace has never feared revenge. Currently, no force dares to directly seek revenge on them. Any force that tried to do so has long disappeared, completely erased from the annals of history. Upon hearing this, Lu Qing once again realized the terrifying nature of the Netherworld Palace. This mysterious assassin organization, spanning multiple immortal domains, could be said to stand above the entire heavenly origin great world. No wonder, even when it openly offers bounties on the heads of sect leaders and family heads, as well as the head of the demon clan's demon lord, no force dares to say a word. Understanding this, Lu Qing smiled. There's such an interesting matter, then I must go and witness it. Daoist, I wonder how one can participate in the trial of the Netherworld Palace. An hour later, Lu Qing withdrew the array set up on the mountain peak, transforming into a stream of light and flying straight to the azure darkness, heading towards the distant horizon. Atop the mountain, Daoist of the Five Treasures held a jade bottle, silently watching Lu Qing's departing figure. Mr. Chun, I hope you can successfully pass the trial and accumulate enough spirit stones soon. In his heart, Daoist of the Five Treasures silently blessed him. Only when Lu Qing's figure had disappeared did he look at the jade bottle in his hand, with a complicated expression. This jade bottle was given to him by Lu Qing before leaving, containing 3 strands of golden core level exotic beast bloodline. Years ago, Daoist of the Five Treasures collected quite a bit of Foundation Establishment level exotic beast bloodline in the secret realm. Over the past 10 years, he had long since refined those bloodlines, increasing the power of his physical body to an extreme. It was precisely because of this that he was able to master the powerful secret technique of his sect. Now, with this golden core level exotic beast bloodline, the power of his physical body will surely transform once more. The secret technique he practices can also be truly mastered to perfection with this. As long as I can cultivate that secret technique to perfection, I will be qualified to compete for the position of young sect leader. Junior sister, just wait. One day, I will personally avenge you and restore justice. Holding the jade bottle, Daoist of the Five Treasures spoke to himself with firm eyes. Ah Qing, are you really going to participate in that trial of the Netherworld Palace? In the sky, as Lu Qing flew like a stream of light, Little Li transmitted via Divine Soul and asked him, Daoist of the Five Treasures is right. If we want to quickly accumulate spirit stones now, we can only take a risky path. The Netherworld Palace might be a good route, Lu Qing replied. Actually, the main reason is according to Daoist of the Five Treasures. The restrictions for the peripheral members of the Netherworld Palace are very lax, which suits him very well. With one more identity, his actions in the future will also become more convenient. And the powerful intelligence capabilities of the Netherworld Palace are also quite enticing to him. If that's the case, then why not try that so-called trial? Taking Little Li with him, Lu Qing flew swiftly, and several days later, he arrived at another region. Following the address provided by Daoist of the Five Treasures, he found that dilapidated small building hidden in the city. However, Lu Qing did not rush in immediately. Instead, he reverted to his Lu in appearance, put on a black cloak, and donned a ghost face mask for disguise. Then he had Little Li temporarily hide in the leaving fire tripod. Only then did he step into the small building slowly. As soon as he stepped into the small building, Lu Qing sensed something unusual. He saw a wisp of spatial fluctuation pass by, and it quickly dissipated. Beneath the mask, Lu Qing's face showed a bit of surprise. Although the spatial fluctuation just now was weak, as someone who could craft teleportation talismans and had deep insight into the space Dao, he detected it instantly. This small building seemed to be located in the city, but it was actually in another dimension. Just this subtle difference could only be discovered by anomalies like him. If other strong ones came, even if they were at the Golden Core realm, not to mention a normal primordial spirit initial realm expert, they might not be able to discern it. This alone made Lu Qing's heart shudder. To see a glimpse and know the whole picture, according to the information given by Taoist of the Five Treasures, this small building was just a stronghold of the Netherworld Palace but could set up an array capable of opening space. One can imagine how terrifying the foundation of the Netherworld Palace itself must be. No wonder it's a terrifying force that both the human race and demon clan of the heavenly origin great world dare not provoke lightly and tacitly allow to exist. The interior of the small building looked very simple, with only a few scattered shelves, displaying some low-level magic artifacts and materials. An old man with disheveled hair was lying on a recliner, eyes closed, snoring loudly and sound asleep. Lu Qing looked at the old man, and his superpower quietly activated. After a while, several pieces of information floated from the old man's body. Primordial spirit with 2 tribulations? After reading the information about the old man, Lu Qing's eyes revealed a hint of strangeness. At the same time, he confirmed that he hadn't come to the wrong place. Seeing that he had been standing there for a while, and the old man still showed no signs of waking up, Lu Qing hesitated for a moment, then gently knocked on the table and respectfully called, "Senior." A few breaths later, the old man slowly opened his turbid eyes. He glanced at Lu Qing, showing no reaction to his peculiar attire, seemingly accustomed to such things. "What do you want? If you want to buy magic artifacts, pick one yourself and don't disturb my sleep," the old man said impatiently. "Senior, I am not here to purchase magic artifacts, but to participate in the trial for the peripheral members of the Netherworld Palace." Lu Qing did not bother with small talk, getting straight to the point. Participate in the trial? The old man still showed no surprise, having already guessed Lu Qing's intention the moment he saw his attire. "With just this bit of strength, you also want to participate in the trial? Aren't you afraid of dying?" "Of course I'm afraid." Lu Qing smiled. "But I still have some confidence in my strength." "Confidence? Anyone who finds this place has confidence. I've seen many like you, all think they have some skill and that nothing is difficult for them. Boy, I advise you to consider carefully and don't throw your life away recklessly." The old man mocked coldly. "Thank you for your concern, Senior. However, I still wish to give it a try." Lu Qing was not offended and continued to affirm. The old man said nothing, quietly watching Lu Qing. A few breaths later, seeing that he still stood there unmoving, he snorted coldly. "Since you are so eager to die, then follow me." The old man got up, opened a door beside him and walked in. Lu Qing did not hesitate and followed. Then he discovered that beyond the door was another world, a large stone room. On the stone room's ceiling were complex runes, obviously indicating that a powerful array was set up inside. The old man waved his hand, and in the center of the stone room, a stone pillar enveloped in an array formation light screen slowly rose up. To participate in the trial, you need to obtain the token. If you can break this stone pillar and get the Jade Talisman inside, it means you qualify for the trial. If you can't even break the stone pillar, then just get out. Lu Qing looked at that stone pillar, feeling the power of the array formation light screen on it. He was not surprised by this process, because before coming here, Taoist of the Five Treasures had already informed him that to participate in the Netherworld Palace's trial, one must have a token. And whether or not one can obtain the token is the minimum standard the Netherworld Palace has for a trialist's cultivation. Looking at that stone pillar, Lu Qing didn't see him make any movement, but a wisp of sword light had already been sent out with his will. With a light sound, the several layers of array formation light screens, along with the stone pillar, were as easily sliced through as tofu by the sword light, revealing a jade talisman inside. "Senior, does this count as passing?" Lu Qing respectfully inquired. The old man saw the sword light unleashed by Lu Qing, and a hint of unknowable color flashed in his turbid eyes. But he quickly restrained it, snorting coldly. "You do have some skill." Then he gestured with his hand, capturing the jade talisman and tossing it towards Lu Qing. But I advise you, with only this little ability, to take it easy in the trial. There are plenty of people stronger than you. Thank you for your concern, Senior. Lu Qing took the jade talisman, still respectful. Not my concern. Anyway, it's you asking for death. In half a month, a trial will take place, and the location is in the jade talisman. You can go there when the time comes. Remember, those responsible for the trial only recognize the talisman, not the person. If you die and the jade talisman is taken by someone else, then that person can replace you in the trial. Of course, that would just be one more person going to their death. The old man said sternly. Thank you for the advice, Senior. I will take my leave and prepare. Lu Qing paid no heed to the old man's sarcastic remarks. The purpose of his visit was to obtain the certificate to attend the trial. Now that he had the certificate, he did not linger and took his leave directly. Watching Lu Qing leave, the old man's originally cloudy eyes slowly became clearer, revealing a trace of peculiar expression. That earlier sword chi, how does it have a bit of that sex flavor? Could it be, this boy is actually a disciple of that crazy sword sect? But soon enough, the old man shook his head. Not quite right. This boy's sword chi isn't pure. There's something else mixed in. Doesn't seem like a true sky-breaking sword sect disciple. Could it be, some lucky little fellow obtained some kind of sky-breaking sword sect legacy and cultivated to some level? It's possible those old monsters from the sky-breaking sword sect used to like leaving legacies in various worlds. Claiming there for anyone who has fate, this boy could very well be one of the lucky ones. No wonder he's so confident, thinking he can pass our Netherworld Palace's trial and manage to cultivate the sect's teachings, worthy of being called a sword Dao prodigy. If he is careful, it might not be impossible to truly pass the trial and become an external member of our Netherworld Palace. However, disciples who are cultivated by the sect, coming to our Netherworld Palace, if that bunch of sword maniacs find out, their faces sure won't look good. They would be quite angry, wouldn't they? The old man thought about this, and an amused expression appeared on his face. He was already somewhat eager to see what expressions that bunch of sword maniacs would have when they find out about this. As for all this, Lu Qing naturally was unaware. His little sky-breaking sword chi was comprehended via superpower from the sword mark at One Line Sky in his hometown world. That sword mark had existed for over 100,000 years. Moreover, he had always moved alone, completely unaware that there was a legacy of the sky-breaking sword sect passed down. After leaving the small building, Lu Qing removed the disguise and found an inn to reside temporarily. Once everything was arranged properly, he took out the jade talisman to inspect it. Honestly, acquiring this trial certificate was much simpler than he had anticipated. However, it made sense. Even 5 treasures Daoist strength could participate in the trial. It was naturally very easy for him. After checking with superpower and finding no issues, Lu Qing then probed inside with his divine soul power. Soon, he learned the trial's location and time from within. In half a month, there's still sufficient time to prepare. Lu Qing considered this experience quite important. It was crucial to rapidly accumulate a large number of spirit stones in the future. He even had a thought, whether he could, after obtaining external member status at Netherworld Palace, convert the treasures he held into spirit stones through Netherworld Palace. After all, the Netherworld Palace was a terrifying power that both the demon clan and human race had to regard with respect. Certainly, they would have enough appetite to consume that batch of treasures in his hands. In that case, even without accepting assassination missions, he could gather enough spirit stones for cultivation needs in the long future. Naturally, this matter must be attempted after passing the trial and understanding the Netherworld Palace well enough. After thinking for a while, Lu Qing calmed his mind and began cultivation. Although he didn't have many spirit stones now, unable to support high-intensity cultivation. However, the small cave mansion in this inn was also very rich in spiritual energy. A 1,000-mile journey begins with a single step. The path of cultivation lies in gradual accumulation. Since he had idle time, Lu Qing wouldn't let it go to waste, still cultivating slowly. Time flies unnoticed in cultivation, and half a month passed in a blink. Lu Qing exited an hour earlier and settled the bill with the inn, then transformed into a stream of light heading towards the location recorded on the Jade Talisman. The location noted on the Jade Talisman was 10,000 miles away from the city where Lu Qing resided. Naturally, this distance was nothing to Lu Qing. With his speed now, he reached there shortly. It was a plain valley nestled amidst a forest. Without the Jade Talisman's guidance, others would never suspect this was the renowned Netherworld Palace trial land. Lu Qing ensured he hadn't misplaced the location from the sky before he descended. However, midway through his descent, suddenly, a sword light flew out from the forest below, slashing towards him. The sword light was sharp, reaching the golden core late-stage level. Lu Qing's eyebrows raised slightly, without discerning what precisely was happening. He took no extra action but merely used his movement technique to lightly dodge the sword light. Ha! In the forest below, a soft exclamation sounded. Seeming surprised, Lu Qing, who revealed golden core mid-stage aura, could dodge his stealth attack. Subsequently, 3 figures flew out from below the forest, blocking Lu Qing's path ahead. You not only launch a sneak attack, but also obstruct my path. What does this mean? Lu Qing asked indifferently. At this moment, he still wore the ghost face mask, clad in a black cloak, appearing quite mysterious. As for little Li, she had long gone into the leaving fire tripod for cultivation. What intention is this? One of the 3 said coldly, Kid, don't play dumb. If you're smart, hand over the trial Jade Talisman, and maybe we 3 brothers might spare your life. You want my trial Jade Talisman? Are you from the Netherworld Palace? Lu Qing asked. He had already sensed that there were still many people hidden in the mountain forest below, but they were all scattered and seemed to be cautious about something. And watching the conflict in the sky, they did not intend to stop it, remaining hidden. Feeling these anomalies, Lu Qing immediately had a bit of understanding in his heart. He remembered what the old man said when he obtained the trial Jade Talisman. The trial of the Netherworld Palace recognizes the Jade Talisman, not the person. The 3 people across were stunned hearing Lu Qing's words, exchanged glances, and then the man who spoke earlier nodded directly. That's right, we are indeed the officials hosting this trial for the Netherworld Palace. Now hand over your trial Jade Talisman, and you can enter. Really? How come it doesn't seem right? Are there such weak people in the Netherworld Palace? Lu Qing still said in a calm tone. Kid courting death. Hearing this, the 3 immediately realized they were being played by the ghost-faced kid in front of them, and they were furious. Then the 3 made their move simultaneously, unleashing their best Taoist skills, attacking Lu Qing. Their aura exploded, revealing 2 Golden Core 7th turn and 1 Golden Core 5th turn experts. In each move, there was a hidden sense of array, and the connection of the flow strengthened the power significantly. Although Lu Qing managed to dodge their ambush of Sword Qi earlier, making the 3 realize this ghost-faced kid in front of them is not simple. But the 3 brothers were confident, even against the pinnacle Golden Core of 8 or 9 turns, they still had the strength to fight. Even if this kid had hidden strength, he surely wouldn't be their opponent. They had come early to this place and were ambushing for a long time. Rarely did they encounter this ghost-faced kid with weak aura. They must secure a trial Jade Talisman for their 3rd brother. That way, when they enter the trial land working together, their probability of passing the trial would be much higher. The 3 attacked with anger, murderous intent born in their hearts. Their Taoist skills unleashed terrifying power. Even the strong in the late Golden Core realm would be burst open. If Lu Qing was indeed the realm he displayed, he would surely be blasted into smithereens. However, facing the encirclement of the 3, Lu Qing didn't even intend to dodge. The next moment, countless sword qi generated out of thin air in front of him, forming a river of sword qi, sweeping forward. Where the sword qi reached, it cut through everything, whether the sword light, gang qi, or magical treasure of the 3. In front of Lu Qing's sword qi, it was like tofu, instantly shattered. After the river of sword qi shattered all attacks, its power did not weaken, continuing to sweep towards the 3. Ah, no good. Quickly form an array to block. How can it be so strong? Big brother, can't hold it. Spare us, spare us. Ah! Amidst a series of miserable screams, the three Golden Core realm were directly slashed into a mist of blood by countless sword chi, leaving only a few magical treasures and storage magical artifacts behind in place. Lu Qing moved his mind slightly and had already collected everything. It was not until then that the other hidden strongmen in the mountain forest below were shaken in heart and spirit, unable to believe what they saw. Simultaneously, an idea rose in their minds at the same time. This person's swordsmanship and divine skills are terrifying beyond measure. Those daring to come to the Netherworld Palace trial were almost all very proud powerhouses. The true identities of some were even prodigious disciples in powerful factions. But at this moment, everyone was shocked by Lu Qing's scene of instantly slaying three Golden Core realm experts single-handedly. In the first moment, a decision was made in their hearts. When truly entering the trial land, if encountering this person, absolutely do not get into conflict. No choice, 2 Golden Core 7th turns plus a Golden Core 5th turn expert, and even under a formed array still could not withstand Lu Qing's move. Everyone predicted that this mysterious ghost face masked individual was probably at least an expert in the Golden Core 8th turn perfection. Some even began wildly guessing in their hearts which Sword Dao Sect's core true disciple Lu Qing was. As for Lu Qing, after collecting the relics of the three, he moved forward, found a place devoid of people and landed. But this time no one dared to obstruct him anymore. Originally, I wanted not to be so high profile, to first figure out the situation of this trial before deciding. Unexpectedly, I encountered such an event. Lu Qing shook his head slightly. According to the 5 magical treasure Taoists' original statement, the Netherworld Palace's trial each time was different. Therefore, before truly entering the trial land, no one knows what they will face. Lu Qing originally intended to act low-key, to first observe the situation before speaking, but did not expect, just to arrive, encountered such an awkward event. Whatever, in this way, hopefully no one dares to provoke me anymore, which also avoids some unnecessary troubles. Lu Qing casually scattered a few jade talismans, landing on the ground, forming a simple array, hiding his figure and aura. He had just checked it out. The valley below was enveloped by an invisible spatial fluctuation, unable to enter at will. Combining with the strong hidden in this mountain forest, and the time mentioned in the trial Jade Talisman, Lu Qing estimated that before the time recorded in the Jade Talisman arrives, this valley is probably not going to open. Thus he decided to hide in the mountain forest like others, waiting quietly. Things were just as Lu Qing guessed. During the waiting period, some strong men arrived one after another. Among them, some even broke out in combat. Through their conversations, Lu Qing came to know that the trial Jade Talisman issued in each Netherworld Palace's stronghold for each trial is limited. Meaning, even if the strength is achieved, not everyone can necessarily get the trial Jade Talisman. This led some people to start thinking about taking action before the trial truly begins, to seize the trial Jade Talisman. After all, the Netherworld Palace recognizes only the talisman, not the person. The holder of the talisman can participate in the trial. The three who wanted to rob Lu Qing earlier were precisely like this. Originally, the three brothers had gone to great lengths to finally find a Netherworld Palace stronghold. However, they were told there were only 2 trial Jade Talismans left. In order to gather enough talismans, the three attempted to rob Lu Qing but ended up kicking a big iron plate, falling into a state of death and annihilation. Regarding the subsequent battles, Lu Qing merely watched quietly, without any action. Those strong enough to come for the Netherworld Palace trial were not easy to deal with. Death was their own doing, so there was no psychological fluctuation for him. Lu Qing waited quietly, seeing that it was about the time recorded in the Jade Talisman. Suddenly, 2 figures appeared not far from where he had set up his array. The 2 looked around but did not see the person they wanted to meet. One of them became anxious and shouted, "Is the Ghost Face Senior nearby? We have urgent matters to request your presence." Looking for him? Lu Qing's heart stirred. He thought for a moment and removed the array. "What do you want with me?" Lu Qing's sudden appearance startled the 2. They hadn't expected Lu Qing to be right next to them, yet they were completely unaware. This ability to conceal his aura, combined with the terrifying power displayed earlier. Immediately, the two showed a look of awe and made a bow to Lu Qing. One of them spoke, "Ghostface Senior, earlier you killed those 3 golden core realms. May I know if there's an extra trial jade talisman? If so, could it be given to us?" "You want a trial jade talisman? Sure. Exchange it for spirit stones," Lu Qing said directly without hesitation after hearing this. The two were delighted, not expecting Lu Qing to be so agreeable. "I wonder how many spirit stones Senior wants to give out this trial jade talisman?" one asked respectfully. "It's about how many spirit stones you're willing to pay to buy the talisman. Name a price. Let me see your sincerity." The two exchanged glances. One spoke cautiously. "We don't carry many spirit stones. Would 10,000 spirit stones per talisman satisfy you? Middle-grade spirit stones?" The person smiled bitterly. "Senior must be joking. Naturally, it's lower-grade spirit stones." "All right." Lu Qing directly took out 2 trial jade talismans and tossed them over. The two were overjoyed, taking the talismans and carefully handing over the spirit stones to Lu Qing. Getting a stash of spirit stones for nothing, Lu Qing was in a good mood. 20,000 lower-grade spirit stones are not a small amount. After all, those 2 trial jade talismans were of no use to him. Being able to exchange them for spirit stones was like earning them for free. Additionally, each of the storage magical treasures of those 3 golden core realm cultivators contained some spirit stones. This gave Lu Qing, who originally felt a bit strapped for cash, a bit of replenishment. Just as he was storing away the spirit stones, the valley ahead, shrouded in an invisible spatial fluctuation, finally showed some movement. He saw a distortion in the air, and a figure appeared from within the valley. It was a man wearing a ghostly mask, exuding a chilling aura that made everyone afraid to underestimate him. "Those who wish to participate in the trial, hold your trial jade talismans and follow me inside. You have the time of 10 breaths. If you don't make it in time, just roll back by yourself." After throwing out these cold words, the masked man turned and vanished back into the valley. The strong cultivators hidden in the surrounding forests were initially startled by these words, but quickly acted without delay, using their movement techniques to rush towards the valley, afraid of being a step too late and really losing their qualification. The Netherworld Palace's trials are not held every year. Sometimes they don't occur even once in a decade. Missing this one means not knowing when the next will be. Lu Qing, also holding his trial jade talisman, followed the crowd towards the valley. As he neared the valley's entrance, the trial jade talisman in his hand suddenly emitted a glow, enveloping him. Immediately, the space before him rippled like water. Passing through that layer of invisible spatial fluctuation, a familiar sensation surged to Lu Qing's heart. He quickly realized that this was the sensation of space transmission. Sure enough, when Lu Qing's vision stabilized, he found himself on a desolate land, with no sign of the valley. So that's it. The valley was just a decoy. The real trial land is in this peculiar space beyond the transmission array. Lu Qing's heart stirred as he sensed the surroundings. Soon he confirmed that they were no longer in the heavenly origin great world, but in a space similar to a secret realm. The spiritual energy here was a bit thinner than in the heavenly origin great world, and it was unusually desolate and silent. There was an abundance of death energy within, attempting to invade their bodies. This made the strong cultivators turn pale, quickly activating their golden cores to fend off the death energy. This time's trial is quite simple. Just then, a voice echoed, and everyone looked up to see the masked man who led them here now standing atop a steep peak, looking down on them. "Have you seen the trial jade talismans in your hands? In the time to come, no matter what means you use, whether by cunning, deceit, coercion, or even forceful robbery, use all the techniques you have to seize the trial jade talismans from others. You have 3 days to stay in this space. In these 3 days, the top 10 who collect the most trial jade talismans and persevere to the last moment will pass the trial and become members of the Netherworld Palace's outer circle. The trialist who seizes the most talismans will also receive rewards from our Netherworld Palace. Soon, your talismans will be activated, and then all talismans will sense each other. Only 10 people can pass the trial? Collecting trial jade talismans. Doesn't this mean we have to fight each other? I knew it. The Netherworld Palace trial wouldn't be simple. If all trial jade talismans can sense each other, doesn't that mean there's no escape? Hearing the masked man's words, everyone below was shocked. Moreover, looking at the surrounding people, they all became highly vigilant. They knew that, with this trial content, they were destined to battle each other. As for those relatively weaker in the Golden Core realm, they showed bitter expressions. Some even cried out in discontent. This is unfair. Doesn't this mean we who have a lower realm are doomed not to pass the trial? If your strength is inferior, isn't elimination only natural? The masked man said coldly. Did you think the trial of our Netherworld Palace was child's play? If you have any sense, you should throw out your trial jade talismans early. Find a place to hide. That way, perhaps you might survive until the trial ends. Oh, by the way, let me tell you, it's not just you few participants in this trial. Trialists from other regions of your human race, along with demons from the demon domain, and even the demon clan from the monster domain, have all entered this space. So, if you want to pass the trial, don't hold back in your slaughter, ha 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 ha. As the masked man's arrogant laughter faded, his figure slowly vanished. His last words made everyone look drastically changed. What, demons and demon beasts from the demon domain, monster domain, are also participating in this trial with us? Such actions by the Netherworld Palace. Aren't they afraid of inciting the wrath of the 3 major races? For a mere Outer Circle members' trial, we have to fight demons and beasts. This Netherworld Palace is utterly insane. The Golden Core realm cultivators were in an uproar, many showing signs of panic on their faces. None of them expected that the Netherworld Palace's trial for external members this time would adopt a mode requiring them to kill each other. More importantly, the demons from the demon domain and the demon clan were also drawn into this space for the trial. The demon clan is easier to deal with. In the Heavenly Origin Great World, the demon domain has always maintained a neutral stance, and their relationship with the human race is considered decent. But the demon domain is different. The demon clan and the human race are natural enemies. Their long-standing hostility can be described as a deep-seated hatred. There's almost no possibility for peaceful coexistence. Now that everyone is in the same space, it's imaginable that once they meet, it will be a fight to the death. Having to trial together with demons from the demon clan? Lu Qing also felt very surprised. Although he heard from the 5 Treasures Daoist that the Netherworld Palace does not limit its recruitment of external members to any race. Whether it's the human race, demon clan, demons, or other living creatures, as long as they can pass the trial, they can become their external members. But such a method of placing trialists from several races into the same secret realm space is extremely rare. Otherwise, these Golden Core realm cultivators wouldn't be so shocked. Buzz! Just as the crowd was getting restless, suddenly the trial jade talisman in their hands emitted a glow. Then, an invisible wave spread out, reaching far off. Lu Qing's heart and spirit stirred, and he immediately probed the divine soul power into the trial jade talisman, only to show a surprised expression. Inside the trial jade talisman, a virtual space appeared, filled with a large number of white dots, some of which were continuously moving. By comparing, Lu Qing quickly understood that the virtual space in the trial jade talisman represented the secret realm space they were currently in. The displayed white dots represented the locations of other talisman holders. So that's what the masked boy meant when he said the trial jade talismans could sense each other. Lu Qing pondered. At the same time, he received a warning from the trial jade talisman. That is, the trialists cannot block the fluctuations of the trial jade talisman, cannot let it be further than 3 feet away from themselves, and cannot store it in a space treasure. If the rules are violated, they will immediately lose their qualification for the trial. This requirement is blatantly demanding us to kill each other. After seeing that rule, Lu Qing immediately understood Netherworld Palace's intention. Clearly, Netherworld Palace was telling them that to pass the trial, they must fight and snatch enough Trial Jade Talismans, trying to sneak through by hiding and evading until the end is not possible. At this time, other Golden Core Realm cultivators also understood the meaning of those white dots in the talisman. Upon seeing the warning from the Trial Jade Talisman, everyone's expressions became even gloomier. They naturally understood what all this signifies. What a useless trial. I'm opting out. You all do whatever you like. One of the Golden Core Realm cultivators, after changing expressions several times, suddenly clenched his teeth and tossed the Trial Jade Talisman high up. Then he transformed into a streaming light and fled into the distance. His strength was merely at mid-Golden Core Realm. Under such rules, passing the trial was simply impossible. Now, the most important thing was to save his own life. He planned to find a hidden place to hide before those demons arrived, and wait out these 3 days. Watching the retreating figure of the Golden Core Realm cultivator, everyone was first stunned, then suddenly understood his intentions. Some showed admiration, realizing that his decisiveness in making such a choice immediately showed determination. But others focused directly on the Trial Jade Talisman tossed by the Golden Core Realm cultivator. Before the Trial Jade Talisman fully landed, suddenly a mana hand emerged, reaching to grab the talisman. Hold on! Before that mana hand could seize the talisman, a blade chi swept across, intercepting it. Immediately, several Taoist skills flew out, aiming for the Trial Jade Talisman. At the same time, 4 or 5 people were scrambling for the Trial Jade Talisman. As for other Golden Core Realm experts, they avoided the conflict because the aura displayed by those 4 or 5 was the strongest among them. All of them were at late Golden Core Realm. The Taoist skills they unleashed were extraordinarily powerful. To avoid being swept into it, they had no choice but to retreat, while the cultivators around Lu Qing were engaged in a contest. Similar battles erupted in various other parts of this space. Interesting, this time we're trialing with the human race and demon clan? Thousands of miles away from Lu Qing's group, a tall, slender man with long black horns and pale skin, extremely handsome, examined the information within his Trial Jade Talisman, revealing a look of great delight. Surrounding him, some strangely shaped demons looked at him with fear. It's Tsongju, the 9th son of Silent Annihilation Demon Venerable. Why is he here? A dignified son of the Demon Lord actually participating in the trial for external members of Netherworld Palace. Has he gone mad? Hasn't Tsongju's cultivation already reached the perfection of the Demon Pill realm? Why is he not preparing to become a demon general instead of being here? It's over. Rumors say Tsongju is as cruel and murderous as Silent Annihilation Demon Venerable. Perhaps even more so, he might kill us all. Boom! Suddenly, the handsome man known as Tsongju stretched out his hand, and an invisible aura exploded. A powerful force grabbed a pig-headed demon, suspending it in front. I seem to have heard you cursing me in your heart? Tsongju's purple-slitted eyes looked at the pig-headed demon and spoke slowly. No, no, how dare the little one curse you? Tsongju. Tsongju, please spare my life. The pig-headed demon was already terrified, fearfully begging for his life. Saliva splattered from his big bloody mouth, which made the handsome man called Tsongju's eyes grow cold. With a forceful hand, an invisible power surged, instantly twisting the pig-headed demon. With a series of cracking bones, the pig-headed demon's massive body was twisted into a shape like a pretzel. Finally, amidst a wave of pitiful screams, his life force slowly dissipated. Regardless of whether you cursed me or not, just your ugly appearance deserves death. Tsongju casually threw the pig-headed demon's corpse on the ground, lightly hooking his fingers to seize the Trial Jade Talisman in its hand. Seeing this, other demons around watched with reverence. The pig-headed demon's strength was not weak, at least at the 7th transition of the Demon Pill realm. Yet in front of Tsongju he was like a weak chick, unable to resist at all, and was pinched alive to death. No wonder he's the Demon Lord's son. Even though he's in the Demon Pill realm, his strength is far superior to theirs. After killing the pig-headed demon, Tsongju scanned the surroundings. Immediately, all demon bodies trembled, and their faces showed utmost respect. Though they all longed to escape, they knew very well the consequence of fleeing before such a figure. Judging by your looks, you should know what to do, right? Song-ju played with his own trial jade talisman, speaking calmly. I understand. Song-ju, this is my trial jade talisman. Please accept it. A sheep-headed demon cautiously knelt, offering its trial jade talisman. Good, you've got some sense. Song-ju hooked his finger, collecting that trial jade talisman as well. Seeing this, the other demons instantly knew what to do. They all knelt and offered their own trial jade talismans. After collecting all the talismans, Song-ju finally looked into the distance, displaying a cruel smile. Now it's your turn. Song-ju never imagined that on a mere whim, participating in the Netherworld Palace trial, he would encounter such an interesting event. The hatred between the demon clan and the human clan was as deep as the sea. As the son of the demon lord, he grew up listening to the glorious deeds of his father. For instance, with a wave of his hand, his father would annihilate millions of living creatures of the human clan, collecting countless grievances and deathly aura to enhance his cultivation. Or single-handedly, he would face over a dozen human clan cultivators of the primordial spirit realm, not only holding his ground but also slaying several primordial spirit great powers, shaking the entire heavenly origin great world. Such achievements made Song-ju idolize his father from a young age, always wanting to emulate his father by slaughtering the human clan as effortlessly as cutting vegetables, with a mere wave devastating thousands. However, in the past few centuries, due to certain reasons, both sides maintained a sort of restraint, with severe conflicts becoming rare. This led Song-ju, who had been cultivating, to have hardly seen any human clan other than the few human slaves kept within his territory. But those human slaves were akin to livestock, never daring to resist no matter how he tormented them, making them exceptionally dull. Song-ju had always longed to witness the true capabilities of human clan cultivators, wondering if they indeed possessed the rumored skills. However, his father strictly ordered him not to step outside the demon clan's territory, let alone venture into the human clan's lands. He had profound respect and awe for his father, the demon lord. So despite his rebellious nature, fearing nothing under the sky, he dared not defy his father's orders and sneak into human clan's territories. He originally thought this wish of his would have to wait until the next outbreak of conflict between the demon clan and the human clan. Unexpectedly, on a whim, joining this Netherworld Palace trial, he encountered human clan cultivators. Thinking that his long-cherished wish was about to be fulfilled, Song-ju couldn't help but reveal an excited smile. Would you all be willing to follow me and annihilate the human clan in this space? Song-ju suddenly turned around, lightly addressing the kneeling devils around him. The surrounding devils were stunned at first, but then they all became spirited, shouting excitedly, "We are willing to follow Lord Song-ju." Boom! A loud noise shook the earth, and an endless suppressive force descended upon a group of variously shaped demon beasts, rendering them completely immobile. Those with lesser strength were forced to the ground, their bones creaking, nearly breaking. "Do you submit?" A tall and sturdy man with drooping ears and an elephant trunk on his face spoke calmly. "We submit, we submit. We are willing to offer our trial jade talismans. We beg for mercy from the Lord." The surrounding demon clans, oppressed to the point of immobility, hurriedly shouted. In their hearts, they were even more shocked. None of them anticipated that a mere trial for the outer disciples of the Netherworld Palace would draw a strong Elephant Clan warrior. This was one of the 12 royal clans of the Demon Clan, and judging by the aura of this Elephant Clan warrior, he had surely reached the 9th turn of the Demon Core. Why would such an exceptional power participate in the Netherworld Palace trial? Though shocked, the demon clans dared not refuse to hand over their trial jade talismans. Otherwise, just the ever-increasing suppressive force would have been enough to crush them to mincemeat. Having received dozens of trial jade talismans, the elephant trunk man also gazed into the distance. This time, the Netherworld Palace trial places powers from the 3 clans into the same secret realm. What are they planning? The Elephant Trunk Man recalled how he obtained the Trial Jade Talisman, feeling a growing sense of wariness. Back then, he unintentionally learned of the Netherworld Palace trial, driven by curiosity, wanting to experience it. But now he intuitively sensed something unusual. He felt as if a pair of large hands were manipulating events from the shadows. After pondering for a while without any conclusion, he had to give up. Now, having entered this secret realm, he could only take it one step at a time. He was confident that, given his strength, passing this trial shouldn't be too difficult. Swish! A sword light flashed past, splitting the earth, the sword mark unfathomably deep, exuding a sharp aura that changed the countenance of dozens of cultivators. Hand over your Trial Jade Talismans. As fellow human clan cultivators, I don't wish to cause unnecessary slaughter. A young man in a Star Taoist robe casually released a sword light and spoke flatly. Beside him stood a veiled woman, her figure graceful, her demeanor cool. If Lu Qing were here, he would recognize them as the Taoist from Daoshu Temple and the Holy Daughter from Biluo Palace, who he had once seen in the Tianshu Divine Mountain's secret realm. Listening to the words of the Star Taoist robe youth and seeing the frightening crack on the ground, the expressions of the human clan cultivators changed several times, ultimately handing over their Trial Jade Talismans in resignation. If outside they might dare to protest, the presence of the Holy Alliance might deter the other party from slaughtering their own kind. But now they were in the trial space of the Netherworld Palace. In here, no matter what happened, the Holy Alliance held no sway. Even if the opponent killed them all, the Holy Alliance probably wouldn't intervene. After collecting the Trial Jade Talismans handed over by the cultivators, the Taoist of Daoshu Temple handed half to the Holy Daughter from Biluo Palace beside him. Fairy Luo, those who see it have a share. Shall we split it in half? No need. These Trial Jade Talismans are obtained by yourself. No need to share with me. The Holy Daughter of Biluo Palace did not accept them. Her tone was cold. Fairy Luo is still so distant, Daoshu Temple Taoist chuckled. We both came here under our master's orders to participate in the Netherworld Palace trial. Our meeting here shows we are fated. No need to be so polite. This Netherworld Palace trial is clearly not ordinary. The Holy Daughter of Biluo Palace frowned. To put people of the three clans together in this space for the trial, what is the intention of the Netherworld Palace? More importantly, what is the intention of her master letting her participate in this trial? The Holy Daughter of Biluo Palace knew her master seemed to have an unusual connection with the Netherworld Palace. Her master would not have her partake in the trial for harm. Yet, without understanding the purposes of the Netherworld Palace, she felt uneasy. Fairy Luo, why worry? With our combined strength, this trial should be no challenge. I am eager to see what makes the strong ones of the Demon Clan and the Demon Clan unique. This is an opportunity. Compared to the Holy Daughter of Biluo Palace's concerns, Daoshu Temple Taoist appeared more confident. According to the information provided by his master before setting out, this trial was limited to the Golden Core realm level. Since that's the case with his and Fairy Luo's strength, the two joining forces might make them unbeatable in the trial space. No need to worry too much. I always feel that things aren't this simple. The Holy Daughter of Biluo Palace still frowned. Regardless, we are already in with no way out. Better to complete this trial first. The purpose of the Netherworld Palace will likely then reveal itself, Daoshu Temple Taoist said. That's true. The Holy Daughter of Biluo Palace nodded slightly. Now, apart from completing this trial, there seems no other way. Since Fairy Luo doesn't want these Trial Jade Talismans, the next batch of cultivators' Trial Jade Talismans will be yours then. No need to trouble you. I will handle it myself. Then I will observe the fairy's valor. Both of them drifted farther away, following the guidance in the Trial Jade Talismans, moving toward the next gathering point of white dots. Similar situations occurred in many places within this secret realm space. Lu Qing did not know that this time, due to certain reasons, many prodigies of various clans entered the Netherworld Palace's outer member trial together. However, he noticed through the virtual space in the Trial Jade Talisman that, in the trial space, several locations of white dots suddenly gathered and moved continuously. He pondered for a moment and immediately understood that someone had already started collecting trial jade talismans en masse. Those able to collect so quickly must be much stronger than others around them. It's just a trial for recruiting outer members. Why suddenly are so many top-notch experts emerging? Or is the allure of becoming a Netherworld Palace outer member truly so great? Lu Qing felt a tinge of doubt. Yet, he knew that if he did not act now, he would fall behind others. After all, based on the white dots in the trial jade talisman, there are at least thousands of strong participants in this trial. And already, dozens had finished collecting the trial jade talismans around them and moved elsewhere. Moreover, he harbored interest in the strong of the Demon Clan and wished to witness them. Thinking of this, Lu Qing did not hesitate any longer. He stepped out, a sharp sword intent emanating from him, suppressing all around. Instantly, those in the Golden Core realm felt a chilling cold, as if countless sword chi were pointed at their foreheads. The breath of death arose from their hearts, paralyzing them with fear, preventing any movement. Even the few Golden Core late-stage experts who had just ended their scramble for a trial jade talisman felt the same. All were intimidated by the sword intent Lu Qing exuded, looking at him in shock. I don't wish to say much. Under the horrified gazes of dozens in the Golden Core realm, Lu Qing said calmly, "Hand over your trial jade talismans." Looking at Lu Qing, wearing a ghost face mask, clad in a black cloak, feeling the terrifying sword intent almost tearing at their divine soul. Even those in the Golden Core realm who wanted to resist could only resign wearily. No choice, the strength gap was too vast. This person here was at least a top-tier expert of the Golden Core 9th turn, not on the same level as them. As for joining forces, they were strangers to one another. Who would dare entrust their back to a stranger? What if they got stabbed in the back? Since that was so, it was better to concede directly. In the end, the group of Golden Core realm experts could only hand over their trial jade talismans. Lu Qing accepted them unceremoniously, collecting all of them. He calculated that there were over 30 Golden Core realm experts here, meaning he acquired over 30 trial jade talismans. This was not a small number, yet compared to the trial jade talisman display, it ranked behind more than 50 others. To pass the trial, he needed to proceed elsewhere for more collections. Lu Qing did not delay, immediately transforming into a streaming light, rising into the air, heading to the nearest other white dots as shown in the trial jade talisman. Before leaving, he left a message. I advise you, if you don't want to die, find a place to hide quickly. This trial is not as simple as you think, or you'll end up dead without knowing how. Watching Lu Qing's departing figure, the remaining Golden Core realm members were all left in mutual bewilderment, especially his parting words, which made their heart and spirit tremble. They had already thought this Netherworld Palace trial was strange. Now hearing someone as unfathomable as him say this, it was clear that he had detected something unusual. With this thought, the Golden Core realm experts began considering countermeasures. It has finally begun. As Lu Qing flew toward the nearest other white dots. In a mysterious space, inside a grand hall, over a dozen mysterious figures watched a light curtain before them. If Lu Qing were here, he would recognize one of them as the man with the little ghost mask who brought them in. Displayed on the light curtain were the current conditions of various trialists within the trial space. Among them was his flying figure. These trialists likely did not anticipate there would be so many Golden Core 9th turn-level experts joining this trial. Can't wait to see their faces when they meet. One figure, speaking with Schadenfreude, said. He wore a fierce beast mask on his face. Who would have thought a common outer member trial would evolve into this? Even the primordial spirit great powers of the three clans might not have anticipated it. Another figure spoke, wearing a fox mask, her voice enchanting, seemingly a woman. This trial is controlled by that lord behind the scenes. How could the indigenous primordial spirits of the heavenly origin great world resist the elders' calculations? Another voice rang out. When mentioning that lord, the dozen mysterious figures could not help but tremble slightly, their postures tensing upright. That lord seemed an incredibly formidable being, Merely mentioning the name inspired reverence. After over 10 breaths of silence, one asked with doubt, "Why would such a lord orchestrate such a minor outer member trial?" "The thoughts of such beings are not for us to guess," the earlier voice remarked. "But the message from above suggests that the Lord suddenly got a whim to recruit another registered disciple, hence this trial." "What?" This remark caused all the over 10 mysterious figures to tremble. "Is it true that the Master is accepting registered disciples?" Someone immediately asked hurriedly. "It's just a rumor. No one dares to say for sure whether it's true or not." Yet even so, the dozen or so mysterious figures here felt a shock in their hearts, finding it hard to believe. Because they knew, for that Master, if he didn't want such rumors to spread, they wouldn't have come out at all. But why, given the Master's status, would he want to accept registered disciples? Just by hinting at it, you wouldn't know how many would beg to become disciples, let alone being concerned about mere Golden Core realm individuals. Someone felt extremely puzzled. The Master's intentions are beyond our guessing. There must be reasons for his actions. We just need to do our part. Besides, for now, it's just a rumor. We don't know the true reason behind it. All the figures fell silent. Looking at the trialists in the light screen, they couldn't help but show expressions of extreme envy. These little fellows probably still don't know what kind of opportunity they are about to face. If this news were to spread, not only Heavenly Origin Great World but even the entire Great Origin Immortal Domain, and even several nearby immortal domains would be shaken to the core. In this trial, there are quite a few outstanding little fellows from the Heavenly Origin Great World. Who do you think will claim the top spot? After a moment of silence, another figure suddenly spoke up. "It's hard to say. Among the trialists, many are at the 9th transition of the Golden Core level. Some even have refined flawless innate top-grade Golden Cores, Demon Cores, and Demon Pills. At this level, their foundational cultivation realms are vastly different, and it ultimately boils down to comparing each one's cultivation technique, Taoist skills, and magical treasures. If we think about it this way, I have more faith in Songju. After all, his father is the Silent Annihilation Demon Venerable, a great power who has reached the 7th transition of the primordial spirit level with deep foundational roots. Songju is his most favored youngest son, and he must have given him many life-saving cards. The figure wearing a fierce beast mask analyzed. "I have more confidence in the holy daughter of Biluo Palace." The woman wearing a fox mask said, "Don't forget, her master has ambiguous relations with someone high up in our Netherworld Palace. This time she suddenly came to participate in the trial, presumably under her master's, or even our high-ups' guidance. If that's the case, she should have made a lot of preparations and might even seize the top spot. You all favor those with deep backgrounds, but I do otherwise. I have more faith in that young man from the Elephant Clan." Another figure said, "The suppressing ability he demonstrated earlier clearly shows that he has awakened the bloodline of the ancient divine elephant, and the bloodline concentration is not low. If he furthers this and awakens his innate divine ability, it will be even more extraordinary. By that time, his power might break the limits of the Golden Core realm and touch the primordial spirit level. With one unstoppable force, even those with powerful magical treasures might not be his match." Listening to the analysis of the three, some of the other figures couldn't help but nod, obviously agreeing with what they said. Of course, they all knew these were just the apparent things. Perhaps there are other little fellows hiding something. So until the last moment, it is hard to say who can truly seize the top spot. "What about this little fellow?" At this moment, someone pointed at Lu Qing's figure in the light screen. This little fellow's sword intent demonstrated earlier seems quite exceptional. The way of the sword cultivator is known for its astonishing combat power, so he might have a chance as well. Everyone immediately looked at the man wearing the little ghost mask, as they all knew Lu Qing was among those he had introduced. The man in the little ghost mask pondered for a moment, then said, "According to Lu Old Ghost, this kid's sword intent has the essence of the sky-breaking sword sect, but it's not pure. It seems to be a self-understood maverick style, likely a fortunate one who acquired the fallen inheritance of the sky-breaking sword sect." Sky-breaking sword sect. Upon hearing this name, the numerous mysterious figures shook in unison. They couldn't help it. That sect, known for its sword maniacs, held too great a reputation, being a powerful sect not inferior to their netherworld palace. It should be just a lucky recipient of inheritance. Otherwise, if he truly were a disciple of the sky-breaking sword sect, how could he participate in our netherworld palace's trial? What a pity, with just a maverick style. He might be unable to compete against top-grade golden cores with deep backgrounds like Tsangju and the Biluo Palace Holy Daughter. Not necessarily, even if he cannot seize the top spot, he should still make it into the top 10. Understanding Lu Qing's situation, these mysterious figures gave their evaluations one by one. They believed that while it was unlikely for Lu Qing to seize the top spot, entering the top 10 should not be difficult. Look! Tsangju is about to encounter the Holy Daughter of Biluo Palace and the Taoist from Daoshu Temple. Suddenly, someone whispered excitedly. All other voices were immediately invigorated, looking towards the light screen. And that kid, presumably harboring sky-breaking sword sect's inheritance, is about to face another 9th transition golden core cultivator. Then someone else noticed that Lu Qing was also about to meet another formidable cultivator. Immediately, everyone was focused on the light screen, eager to see the outcome of this first collision. Lu Qing naturally didn't know that his every move had long been watched by others. This trial space had been crafted by the great power within the Netherworld Palace. With his current strength, he was not yet able to detect the methods set up by such beings. Following the guidance of the Trial Jade Talisman, he flew towards the nearest small cluster of white dots. That cluster of white dots had 30 to 40 of them and was also moving. Clearly, a strong individual like him had gathered the nearby Trial Jade Talismans. When Lu Qing approached the cluster of white dots, he suddenly found that the cluster of white dots accelerated rapidly towards him. Have they noticed me? Well, that suits me just fine. Lu Qing's gaze was calm, and he suddenly accelerated, flying forward rapidly. This scene was displayed in the illusionary space of the Trial Jade Talisman, showing 2 small clusters of white dots rapidly approaching, about to collide. Lu Qing had already sensed the opponent's presence. A human clan cultivator? Lu Qing sensed the golden core aura emitted by the opponent and immediately made this judgment. The opponent was not the demon clan or demon clan he expected, but a human clan cultivator like him. The opponent was indeed a skilled expert, and shortly after Lu Qing sensed his presence, he too sensed Lu Qing. He was a young man in white, with snow-white long hair, exuding an icy aura and an ethereal sense. The young man in white, upon seeing Lu Qing, did not say much and directly executed a spell. The next moment, a loud dragon roar echoed. A spindle-shaped magical treasure flew out, transforming into a massive ice dragon, pouncing towards Lu Qing. Wherever the ice dragon passed, countless ice shards formed out of nothing, as if even space itself was about to freeze, its power exceedingly formidable. A low-grade spirit artifact? Lu Qing instantly saw that the young man in white's cultivation was only at the Golden Core 8-turn perfection stage, just shy of the 9-turn level. However, the spiritual artifact he wielded was extremely compatible with his own cultivation technique and physique, allowing him to exert formidable power. Judging from the power of this ice dragon alone, it was entirely on par with a full-force strike from a Golden Core 9-turn. Interesting. No wonder he dares to engage actively. Lu Qing's face showed a hint of intrigue. Confronted with the ice dragon attack unleashed by the young man in white, he showed no surprise, nor did he attempt to evade. He merely extended his palm and lightly swung it downward. The next moment, a vast sword chi flew out, emanating an aura of heaven-defying destruction, flying towards the ice dragon. In an instant, the roaring ice dragon froze in place, then suddenly shattered, scattering into countless ice shards. The body of the ice dragon was also sent flying by a single sword strike, with the artifact spirit within letting out a cry of pain, retreating rapidly. What? The young man in white saw that Lu Qing hadn't even used a magical treasure, but had shattered his full-strength ice dragon with just sword chi, and his eyes widened. However, before he could react, Lu Qing swung his hand again, and a sword chi brushed past his body, striking a distant mountain behind him. Then, a calm voice sounded, "You are not my opponent. Hand over all the trial jade talismans." The young man in white stared stiffly at the mountain behind him, which was cleaved in two, and then slowly turned to look at Lu Qing, a sense of indescribable awe on his face. Just as the sword chi brushed past him, he felt an overwhelming aura of death enveloping his entire being. It made his entire body rigid. Forget about evading, he couldn't even move. After a while, he regained some control over his body. The young man in white, without saying much, obediently took out all the trial jade talismans on him and tossed them over. "Your cultivation is profound. Your swordsmanship is unparalleled. I am in awe." With just 2 strokes of sword chi, the young man in white already knew that he was no match for the other. That earlier sword, if it had landed on him, he would likely already be dead. So, the trial jade talismans were handed over willingly. "Thank you for the concession." After checking the trial jade talismans to ensure there was no issue, Lu Qing nodded slightly and continued to transform into a stream of light, flying towards the next target. The young man in white watched Lu Qing's departing figure, his mood immensely complex. Initially, he participated in this trial on a whim. After all, with his status, merely qualifying as an outer member of the Netherworld Palace held little appeal for him. He had thought that, with his abilities, passing this trial would be a breeze. This idea did not waver even when the masked man leading them in, a man with a black bear mask, announced they would trial with the Demon Clan and Magus Clan as well. The reality was just that. He easily took the trial jade tokens from the dozens of Golden Core Realm individuals who entered with him. However, what he didn't expect was someone like Lu Qing in this trial space. Recalling the sword chi Lu Qing unleashed earlier, he still felt his heart and spirit trembling with fear. After a long while, the young man in white finally calmed his heart and spirit a bit and recalled his spiritual artifact. Seeing the distinctive sword mark on it, he felt heartache while his admiration for Lu Qing's power grew.